Hello, hello, lovely people. How are you doing? I'm waiting for AOE, and I guess I'm just hanging out here with my my big old kitty. She's a big old kitty. She's so camera shy. Um, Hello, people. AOE is gonna be here. I will see if she wants to have other people on. I'm not sure how that's gonna work, but yeah, she should be right here. Thank you guys. It's awesome that you guys are here. I'm so happy. Um, yeah, she's very shy. She's a very camera shy kitty, but she might show you her butt because that's what cats do. You know, they love to show their butts. Uh, she's looking at me. She's giving me dirty looks. It's not really. Oh, she's sending me a message here. She'll probably be right here. Oh, it says, looking. AOE, where are you? So, how's everybody doing today? How you liking the new world? Happy graduation to all the graduates, interdimensional meta school. Um, it's kind of a joke, but not so much of a joke. But yeah. Who are you, Olville 30? Why do you want to be in my video? I'm just curious. Are you still here? Um, hmm. So, I have no idea what we're even going to talk about today. There's just so much going on. Hi Tim. I'm trying to wave at everybody, but it's not letting me wave at everybody. It let me wave at Tim. I must like you, Tim. It's like magical. Thanks for all the hearts, guys. AOE should be here any minute. I started a little bit early. But I'm having some strawberry juice here. Juice with real strawberries in it. Good stuff. Makes my tongue red. Franz. You mean friends? I like how William S. Burroughs, who wrote Finnegan's Wake? Is that Burroughs? Was it? I'm having a hard time. Thank you. That's my partner's, and I did this one over here, and all these little boxes, and the octopus painting right here with a dancing lady. There she is. Let's get her in here. Where you at? You got a request? Come on my live. Let's see. Oh, there she is. Hi.
It is so good to see ya.
You too.
I love
Awesome.
all the cute hair stuff. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks. It's lasted longer than I thought it was going to. I thought really I thought whenever I did it, it was gonna like be done soon. But it's lasted quite a while.
Oh, that's
Cool.
perfect.
You look lovely.
Well, thank you. Man, there have been some crazy things going on. Hopefully for you,
Absolutely.
the kinds of crazy are good too.
Oh yeah. Everything is a constant synchronicity stream. And where I would have found it like overwhelming before, I think I feel like way more grounded in it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
and it's getting easier. It's kind of like whenever you go surf the first time, I think it's like you're like, whoa, am I standing on this board like in this wave? Oh, and then like after you do it a few times, it's like it gets a lot easier.
Totally. No, it really is. It's because I was in my head, I was just like thinking right before that, again, synchronicity. It was like, yeah, it's kind of like we're just kind of like able to actually ride it for longer and like kind of hold on to the energies and just flow with it
Hmm.
and stay on that frequency that's running along.
Yep. And we find our ways of getting up into that frequency in the first place.
Hmm.
I,
Hmm.
I think the challenge.
Oh, did I just do somehow? What did I do? Hmm. You're not getting any echo, are you?
Not echo for a second. It kind of like was glitchy, but that's to be expected probably. But it looks like
Yeah,
it's
that's weird.
fuzzy. Like
I
it's
think
almost
I've
like
got it back on.
okay. Yeah, and I can hear you now. I can hear you now. I think it might just be like slightly funky.
See, there it goes again.
Oh,
That's so weird because I'm not even touching my headphone. My headphone's 100% charged. Maybe we got ghosts
you
because
never
like
know.
they like to manipulate those things there, and it says my Bluetooth is still on.
That's too funny.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell just happened? Um,
One of the things I was gonna say earlier today, I hadn't posted yet, was after yesterday, it's not unusual for a bunch of us to be experiencing some like weird energetic charges, like electrical charge stuff, weirdness going on today. So like we got some crazy upgrades yesterday and for whatever reason, they've turned into like an electrical phenomena today.
my friend Anna's here from Canada.
Aw,
Anna from Canada.
I love that. Hello, Anna.
She's a Scorpio.
Ah, well. I am learning about astrology currently, so I will know
Mhm.
more when I can finally remember all of those details.
Yeah, I've been meaning to call you, Anna, like, because it's been crazy. Oh my gosh. I hope things are going well for you. Hmm?
If they're Becky friends or Zephyr friends, then they must be good people.
Yeah, because we just had a friggin' little bit of spring cleaning with the energies, and it's become really clear, like, who's got your back, you know?
Oh yeah, no, that's true. That's very
Yeah.
true. That's very true. It does help to kind of have that awareness a little bit more clearly. It kind of lets you navigate things without too much of a tumble
Yeah,
every
yeah, and I was pleasantly surprised that a lot more people had my back than I thought, so it's
Oh
good.
yeah, totally. I mean, I guess to me, it's like, of course, if someone were, but I guess obviously that's not always the case. But
No, everybody's doing their own thing, and I'm doing my own thing, and you're doing your own thing. We're doing it together. It's friggin' awesome. I
I,
think that it's great.
and it keeps
Whatever is
building.
happening is good right now.
It is. You want to start with the weird 777 sync?
Oh yeah, yeah. So we had like planned to do this live, like we were planning to do it on the 7th of July at 7 p.m. my time, and so it was 777, and then today I hit my 777 followers here on IG, and it was like I was going to do a live anyways, and so we just kind of just threw it together and
I'm,
spontaneously, organically,
yeah,
pretty good
I
stuff.
know. I know. I'm like, good God. Well, we can't ignore the 777. I mean, it was supposed to be 777, so here we are.
Hmm. Yeah, well, and the universe gives us like there's many roads to get to where we're going. So I think if we can take a path that gets us there expeditiously, faster, then it's good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Use that energy we've got right now and just keep flying high. I'm not against that.
Oh, you're so nice. The whole world got our back. I said, yeah. Well, back
Aw,
at you. We got the whole world back.
definitely. Definitely. And
Hmm.
I know there's so what kind of cool exciting stuff have you had going on?
Well, geez.
My world is all exciting all the time. Even if I stay at home and I'm not like doing anything particular, I'm having a lot of fun. And so yeah, I've been like basically like nonstop synchronicity. I got on a call with Zach last night and I read him a poem and he read me a poem, and we realized that it had like the same meter. It could be like a continuation of the same poem. It was like really deep and crazy. And like, that like also like sort of reinforced a sync that I had gotten earlier in the week. My mom has always been telling me since I was little that I should write. And I love to write poetry. So I'm going to start writing again. And,
That's amazing. I know with all of your other art, that can only come out even more beautiful too. I don't think I've seen any of your poetry. I've seen a lot of your like art, like your whatever the meaning you
my sign.
Yeah. But I don't think I've gotten a chance to experience your beautiful poetry. So I'm excited to see you start to put some more of that out.
Yeah.
Whenever.
It's like, and I just like, I wrote the poem that I read to him because I have it in my head. Like the first, I thought I only had like one verse in my head, but it turned out I had two, and I think there's three total. My mom, I'm sure, has this poem, like, and I just saw somebody before on their stories like say that their mom like saved their shell and rock box, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, my mom probably has a bunch of my stuff, but she definitely doesn't have my rock box because it was like huge rock box. I think she got rid of it because it was like a lot of rock. And yeah, because I literally like, not, I'm not kidding, I had like probably like 3 tons of rocks at one point, and I couldn't take them all with me, so I left like 2 tons
rocks, like for real, like crystals and rocks. Like it's like
actual rocks. Yeah, I have like
rock and roll, kind of like your music or something. Sorry, keep going.
Oh no, I'm thinking mineral crystals. You know, it's like I have a few back here. I have my epidote is right here. I love this thing.
Oh, that's so pretty.
I showed you that before in a picture, but see, this is like kind of like,
I don't remember, but okay, in a picture probably I can see that.
It looks like black tourmaline on this side. See how it's kind of.
It really does. Energetically protective kind of thing.
It's a magnifier, and I keep it by me all the time because it always keeps it turned up. You know.
Got it. Well, see, my guides told me to get quartz recently, so I've got. But this quartz, and I don't have it near me. It's got like a little moonstone on it. So I've been extra amplifying stuff lately. And then I have an angel aura quartz. Ooh, I love it. Oh, that's beautiful.
Like got a hinge on it.
Yeah.
Scott got me this. It was a gift. And then I just got these. These are my like prayer beads, sort of. It's like for like doing like, I just like go through them and I like say something like a mantra in my head. 108 times, 108 beats.
That's awesome. I love it. I'm just starting to get to play with those. We got one in for my yoga instructor training, our teacher is so sweet. She like sent us these beautiful mala beads, and I haven't had a chance to like thank her for them yet, but they're like, I was not expecting that. I was like, wow, like, because I'm doing virtual training because I can't be over there with them, and I'm just like so thoughtful. But I guess another interesting sync. All the stuff coming up.
I'm drinking strawberry juice.
Oh, nice.
So good.
You know what's really funny? I was just thinking, it popped in my head. Today has been full of syncs. I remember earlier I was driving and I was behind a car, and the license plate was literally Dharma.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, seriously, the one person who happens to actually have this license plate is right here. And then I saw like a bunch of other things. I kept seeing like 999 or 666 or 000 on like the plates and stuff. And I mean, that's not too unusual. That's like that's a more regular thing lately. But
do you get 1212 a lot?
I get it on the clock. I get it on the clock like crazy.
Yeah, me too. And that's like something that it wasn't until recently that I've seen other people getting it, but I have been getting it like forever. Like before, it was before 1111 even. I was getting 1212.
Interesting.
Yeah. And yeah, 12 is definitely, you know, we've got 12 houses and, you know, all that. 12 hours, 12 times 2, 24, all that stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of the 12 12 comes up in so many different places with all like the numerology with like I think it even comes up with some of the sacred geometry
It's because
stuff.
I think it's 3 because it adds up to 3 too,
Yeah.
and 369 and stuff. Yeah. Did you know that 1369 is 37 squared?
I did not. I was literally looking at that number, wondering it, because I was like, when I was just putting the little post together, I was like, I've always known that the numbers were there, but I had to like double check. I was like, 1369. What is that?
And I didn't pick it. I didn't pick it because of that, but I discovered it afterwards, which made me love it more.
Oh my gosh. What
And
squared again?
Huh?
What number squared again?
37.
37.
So that and it adds to 10, and so does all the digits in 1369 add to 10.
That's so great.
So, and 10 is my goal. It's weird because I didn't even find out all this stuff until after I did like I was like, everything is significant, so I'm gonna just research this and see. And there's actually like a 1369 coffee place in Seattle, or there was. I don't know if they're still there after the pandemic thing.
Okay.
The pandemonium.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have. Hopefully that one isn't one of the things that have changed.
Yeah. But yeah, there's like all sorts of, and I've been seeing 37s everywhere recently too. It's pretty weird.
That is weird.
But
that's a unique.
It's kind of like
for a synchronicity.
It's kind of like a scavenger hunt of synchronicity. Like if you just follow the syncs and your instinct and your intuition, like it will keep showing you this path, and it'll like at the end of this path, there will be like some information that you didn't know that you need to know. And that's just what I do all day. I'm exploring.
It's true. It's true. And it's just like constantly opening up into new places that you just couldn't have possibly guessed it was going to take you to. And
yeah, it's surprising constantly. It's like, I call it non-novel novelty because it's like there's nothing new in the world, but this feels awfully new and I like it, you know?
Yeah. And it's such an easy energy. It's like, you know, like you just have to follow. It really isn't like this. It's not the divine masculine push and like force and do. It's just like curiosity.
You're in the center.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and you would only do it because you want to, obviously, because it's like otherwise you would just be able to just ignore it. Because I mean, and sometimes you can, because everywhere you look is literally something. You know, if you focus on it, you'll see it.
Exactly. And it's like if you actually legitimately listen and go, oh, there's something there, and you let yourself have fun and follow it, and don't feel guilt, because that's one of the key parts. If you feel guilt, then you end up causing issues for yourself. But if you can just go into it and be like excited and like, oh, what's this? And just keep like following them, the universe will kind of like set stuff up for you to just have all the time you need to do it. Like
and sometimes it's a long game that the universe is playing, because I swear, like just recently, like I have had the culmination of like, I literally, somebody from 10 years ago, 10, there's a 10 again, 10 years ago, that was somebody that was from my old group of chat people that I hung out with, that basically got disbanded because the website got locked down because 4chan like attacked it. It was an open community basically. And it was called deoxy.org, and I was an admin there in the chats, and like I had a lot of really great friends there, but I didn't have like redundant contacts for all of them.
Oh no.
And so I lost quite a few. I mean, I kept a few of them on Facebook, but then like I'm like not on Facebook because I just don't like the algorithm over there. It's not, I mean, the algorithm here is different. I've noticed that. I mean, it has a little bit of the same, but I can at least manage it. I find that algorithms are trainable for the most part, and Facebook's doesn't really seem to be trainable. So in a positive way, at least. It's really trainable in a negative way.
Yeah, no, it really is. It sucks that it does that. I mean, it is what it is. It just runs that way. But I'm the same. I don't really go towards the Facebook stuff. I respect it for whatever it is for other people, but I'm just like, eh. I'm gonna stick with Instagram for right now. It just seems to work the best for me too.
Well, and I like it because, like, for one, there's parts of it that I wish I could share links sometimes, but I can see why it's better not to be able to share links.
I think
For one,
I think you can share. I don't know if this is for sure, and if I don't know if it's
YouTube.
huh?
You can't share YouTubes. I know that because Google and Facebook are like competing, so they don't let you save or share YouTube things.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. But I think I haven't tested this out yet, but I read somewhere that there's a way, I think in the lives, so like in this, maybe in the description, it'll let you actually save a link. I could be wrong. I don't know if it actually works. Like I said, I haven't tested it, but I heard that you could. I saw like a reel or a post where someone said that, and I was like, it'd be interesting to try. Because if it is, it's cool. Otherwise, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, you might be manifesting it right now, so don't be sorry.
Maybe by the end of this, it'll be a thing.
It probably will. That's how things have been working lately. Seems like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's so weird because, like, literally, I had this experience the other day. I saw this book. I ordered this book. It got here, and then I'm looking at it, and I'm going, holy shit. Like, and this was right, like, the day that my mom said, I got a message that I should start writing more. And my mom said that to me, and then somebody else said it to me, and then somebody else said it to me. And it was like, I was like, whoa. And then I got this book, and I look at it, and I'm like, wow, this is like the book that I would have written.
Man.
If I had already written a book. This was like, and I was like, it's who Satoshi Nakamoto is? It's like, he's like the Bitcoin guy, like the blockchain guy.
Okay.
He wrote the code for that. And that's the mentor of the guy who wrote this book. And it's basically talking about how the alpha generation, which are like the kids born from 2010 on, and the area around that, basically. Like, so kids that are like going to be adults in 2030.
Okay.
Essentially. Or around that time of the next decade, that being influencers for that generation. That's what we're here to do. Is we're here to influence them in the right direction.
God,
and
I totally see that.
And we have come to like clear away all of the old paradigms and fix all of the messed up stuff. And we're like procrastinated it to the last minute until it was almost too late, which is so typical of us, but very efficient because it'll get done quicker.
We'll
be sliding in under the door, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
Like Indiana Jones style.
Yeah. Yeah, or otherwise it's not fun to watch. I mean, we got to give them something like that.
It wouldn't be nearly as interesting if we weren't doing it like that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny you say Bitcoin because that's been a sink for me today. Like, I keep getting like hits that I don't know if I'm supposed to buy some or if it's like going to start ramping back up again. I know it took a hit for a while, but like literally today I keep getting sinks about Bitcoin or things like people having to do with it and like coming across stuff about it. It's so crazy.
I'm trying to get my camera to stay where it belongs because my thing is like drooping. I'm going to rearrange it here.
I'm not a financial advisor, as a side note. Wow, I just kicked my phone. but
we're like taking you guys on the roller coaster of camera angles right here.
Are you ready?
I just want to be able to lean back a little and not have my face like so like huge. There we go. Well, I wanted to like make a similar size.
Oh, I like that. No, but it's so crazy. Like, I still don't know, but I really think something might be happening with Bitcoin. Like, cause it's been quiet for a while. It kind of like went down and it's always going to go back up. So I'm like, it's just waiting. And I keep telling myself that. I'm like, I just need to get some more. I already have some, but I'm like,
That's my main way of making money, honestly. Like, I started investing probably about a year and a half ago, and I started with like $30 and I put in like, $10 here, $20 here, and just like, and then doing a few trades and like doing research and stuff like that. And I really like the fact that I can keep my money separate from my craft in a way, and it doesn't require a shit ton of effort. It's just like a little bit of saving, and just like I mean, I have not looked at it in like over a week.
Yeah,
you can get away with it
often.
I just like, whenever I think I should look at it, I look at it. And whenever I think I should trade something, I trade it. I just follow my instincts, and I'm doing pretty well. I mean, I pulled a bit of money out of it. It's definitely made it to where I could be a little bit more charitable with contributions to people that I support and things like that.
Yeah.
People having emergencies and donating to causes, which I really like to do.
Yeah, no, me too. And I really, really do like to like help people out that we know, like, that legitimately, like, they're good-hearted people and they're just in a place where they're just not able to do something. And I'm so much happier to do that than to like, I also like doing it for organizations and stuff, but I think like if I had to pick one, I do really like being able to have like an impact on someone I know, and I know that they're getting it. Like, it's all going to them. There isn't like an in-between thing. I mean, like, if that's the only way, like, I know sometimes you need to have the structure in order to make it accessible for like bigger, issues and different things going on in the world. So like, I support those too. Like, I like all of it. But it is nice to not have to feel like pressed or like uncomfortable when you want to. You can actually just do it because you have a way.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and it's like, I've always felt like whenever I didn't have enough, I was like always wishing that I had more, like whenever like I would want to donate to something, and I would be like in that lack mentality or whatever, that I always wanted to be able to do it. And then whenever I just started doing it anyways, that's whenever I started making more money. It's really crazy how it works.
No, that makes so much sense. That's like as a very aligned manifestation, law of attraction stuff. Like, if you start, because it's like that. If you hold on to it, and you're free.
Just blow it. Let it burn a hole in your pocket. Don't let it burn a hole in your pocket. I mean, you have a savings account, of course, but don't be stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not a financial advisor, but that's my disclaimer right there.
Same. Not.
But
based on
this book. This book is all the profits go for charity too. The alphabet, and it's alpha space bet. And I also bought these cards that go along with it, and they came in this really, really pretty box. I was really impressed. It's like, this is the lid.
Oh, wow.
And it's a wooden box, and so cool. It has like this set of cards that look like tarot cards, a lot like tarot cards. They have like really cool art on them.
Whoa.
With like a Merkaba, see the Merkaba there, and then like you turn it over, and it has like stuff that you can read on them. It's like it's basically what it says is like, there's a basic thing that you can do that doesn't take a lot of time, and this one is challenge your finances. It says invest in your mind. Education and experience opens doors. And it's just like you just read it. And it has an exercise that says make a list of skills or knowledge areas that interest you. Look at what basic certification and credential you can obtain. Explore what it would take to get there. It's like basic, like little things, just like that you could do every day. And there has like different. It has like different sections. There's like challenge your perceptions. It's like, and they are all color coded, but they all have this beautiful artwork on the back that is like really, really cool, rainbow colored.
Really cool. That is really, really cool. I love that. And I like the dark background with the colors, like kind of just like,
Which actually reminds me a lot of the tarot deck that I got from Ina Otterith.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's the conjunction tarot. It's like really and that's what really attracted me to it, was that the style of it. And I didn't know it was going to come in this awesome wooden box. It only cost $20, and the book is like $13. So, and all the profits go to the organization, the nonprofit for whatever they're trying to get done for the children.
Oh, it's one of those. Is it like a trafficking one?
Huh?
Is it like to help trafficking and stuff like that, or a different help children?
I don't know. I think it's just to build a better world. It's like for the alpha generation to we're gonna take a bet on that generation, because I think the kids today are like so friggin' smart,
Oh my gosh.
and they just need a little bit of focus and encouragement in ways that don't bog them down and minimize them. And I mean, I have a friend, Bella. She lives in Florida, and I talk about her every time we get online. Like every time I'm in front of a camera, I pretty much like, because she's 18, I think she's 19, almost 19, and she's just so freaking smart. She like figures stuff out like that I wish that I had known at her age. And like she treats me like I'm not some old fart, and I treat her like she's not some little kid, and we have mutual respect. It's like age is not really a thing. It's like eventually we'll be able to like reprint our organs, and who knows, it's just like we can have an amazing world, and it's just really not, it doesn't even have to be that hard. I mean, yeah, there's some destruction that has to take place of old paradigms, but
Yeah.
we can get through anything. I mean, we're survivors and we're fighters. So,
And a lot of it is really all happening inside as we go, like for each of us, like as we break past all of the stuff that we learned, to be limiting as we were younger, and start to like take that down inside of ourselves. It like just reflects so quickly outside. And there will be, like you said, like legit breakdowns and stuff, but so much of it is reliant on us, like doing our part of like the letting go of all of the beliefs. And it's like, do you want to believe in lack and having to kill yourself to do things, or do you want to believe in thriving?
Yeah, well, and that's something that was a game changer for me, was just realizing I don't want to do certain things. I only want to do what I want to do. And I'm just going to deal with the consequences of that, because it is better for me just to be doing what I want to do. Because, I mean, time, even though it's imaginary, it's the only thing that we have, at least for now, we have a limited amount of in our perception. So I think that being paid less than it's worth for that time, regardless of what you're doing, is just, it's not conducive to growth.
It's definitely not healthy. It just drains you.
Everybody is like, do, and they forget the be part. And if we didn't have both do and be, then we'd never have Dewey Brothers. No?
I love that.
We just have Doo Brothers, and that's no fun.
No, I love that. That's awesome. No, not at all. We don't want that. We gotta have the doobies, because life is just like, it's meant to be experienced. It's not meant to be like struggled over. And I'm not trying to be insensitive to anyone going through a rough time. Like we all have crazy crap, but when we learn how to get out of it, which is possible for everyone, it's definitely.
I would say you only live one at a time.
I was like, there you go, at a time.
It's YOLO, but a little bit augmented.
Yeah. Because there's that's something, and that's something I really think is important for people to stop and like look at nowadays. There's just way too much of this constant like glorifying people who are killing themselves as like the ideal, and it's like, no, that's not something to be proud of. And believe me, I did it too. I'm not gonna say that I wasn't one of those people at one point. I was like, somehow, not that I was doing it to try to make myself look good, but it was just like, yeah, but that's like that's the ideal goal, is like you're constantly busy and exhausted and never have time to do anything. I'm like, I'm looking back at it and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, where did that come from? Well, it came from all.
You're giving your power away. You're giving your power away.
Yeah, and not enjoying any of the stuff that I'm doing.
And it's not your fault, really. It's not your fault when you're in that space. It is not your fault, because at a certain point of that, you did not know that that's what you were doing. But once you know it, you can't unknow it. And something that I've been realizing is that we have all been programmed to be like that. And that's what's kept us in our bondage. And like that whole sacrificing your life thing, that's like a very martyr, it's very looked upon as like, oh, you're giving up yourself for the betterment of society or whatever. But that's not even what that word means. Martyr originally meant witness.
Oh, I like that. I
Yeah.
didn't
And
know
we got a little glitchy there, so I'm going to say that again.
that.
Martyr originally meant witness. And I'm in Gene Keys, I am an investigator martyr, so that makes sense. I would find that.
Oh yeah, of course, that makes sense. That does make sense. But it's so
like,
yeah, no, but you're right. It's true. It's true. Like,
yeah,
what is the Gene Keys martyr again?
that is, it's the three line. So
Oh, okay.
Gene Keys is like human design,
Right.
but it's a little bit different. It's
Okay.
a little bit fine-tuned. It's a second permutation of the same sort of a system. And I don't know why I don't know why it exactly split, but I know that the Gene Keys books are like a lot more reasonably priced. And so I don't know exactly. I know that human design is great, but it's expensive. Not everybody can afford to buy all the books and stuff. I know I love giving P the Fury,
Yeah.
friggin', well, loves the little fairies. Fairies. She's a Scorpio too.
Oh, really? Oh, it's too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't actually know that. She's awesome though. I definitely have seen at least a couple of the one episodes that she's done with Noah, and it was pretty.
I like when she's all like, "You don't have to like me. It doesn't have to be hard. This works for me." I love that. It's just like, yeah, tell it, sister.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And here's the thing with the whole like Gene Keys. They're in the life the all of it. There's so many different ones, and I think it's great that they're there. They're options. You just take whichever one resonates the most with you. They all have their own little like variation, but I think it's probably good what we have so many different things because I don't think there's really like I think everyone sort of fits into all of them a little bit. Like astrology works to a certain extent for a lot of people, and then there's like a point where it doesn't really give you more than like a level of understanding, and then like the Gene Keys takes another level, and then the human design takes like another level, and some of them are very similar. Like you'll see similarities across all of them, and then there's some people who do like an elemental breakdown, and they mix it with tarot or not tarot. I want to say astrology, and then some people do the elementals separately and kind of like use that to kind of help define and kind of break things down for people. It's all just like a map to understanding kind of how you got to where you are. And then I feel like it's almost a map to help you understand how to get out. Because I think that there's a point where you almost, once you know the rules, then you know how to break them. And like kind of break free of those ones. Like, so it might define you, but then the whole point is you get to learn what your definition is, and then you get to learn how to undefine it, and then take back that level of power and kind of expand it.
Well, and you have to kind of triangulate, like you have to take in other people's awareness as well, because that's the only way you can really see something, like to see yourself, how much your filters are projecting onto a thing or whatever you're investigating. You know, you cannot see it all yourself. You have to cooperate, and that I think is really our greatest gift as humanity, is the ability for us to cooperate, because individually I really think that we're all friggin' idiots. You know, we all do dumb shit, you know, and that's why whenever somebody is being super judgy of somebody else, it's just like so hypocritical. You know, it's just like, that's not the kind way to help someone realize something. It's not just critical, you know, like being like, you have to like really like get to know them and do it in a kind way, you know. I think that's really what we all should be trying harder to do, is be grateful for what we're good at and what we have, and just be kinder to each other. You know, just,
yeah.
And it's not like in a way of like it's not like enabling people, or like, you know, like conforming to their paradigm or whatever. To that's not kind. It's like making it all fit together, like helping it all fit together is really how, and it takes a little bit of strength and a little bit of subtlety, you know.
Mm-hmm.
to get it done.
And
And a lot of times,
yeah. Yeah.
not always, but a lot of times it can take a lot of time. Because you have to get to know people.
It sure as hell feels like it does.
Yeah, well, the more that we all get connected into it, I think the shorter amount of time that it will take, because like we're all connected on like a higher level of consciousness, and we all know each other on a higher level of consciousness. We're just not really aware of it. And like I've met people, and within 5 minutes I knew, like this person is, and I always circle back. I circle back and like look at people that I've connected with, like after some time has passed, and it's just like whenever I reconnect with them, it's like amazing to see like how much growth has happened, and it's always positive. I feel like, yay, I may have had a little bit of an influence on that, and I'm not like totally responsible. They did the work.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just amazing, because you never know when you can change someone's day and their life.
Yeah. And it's always an amazing feeling when you find that out. It really is. And the thing that I just keep finding more and more nowadays, and I trigger some people to hear it, and I respect whatever, views everyone comes from, and just like take what resonates, leave the rest, as always.
Yeah.
I've gotten to a stage where everything I see that's like negative that comes up, it's like one of two things. It's either it's like something that's limiting me. So it's actually something that's stuck in the subconscious, and the stuff that's like super like that is like literally not anything to do with me. I'm like, I don't even know why that person would say that to me. It's like, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that I realized were the worst, that they were in my subconscious. The reason
you automatically get defensive and you start defending like right away, and it makes you reactive. Yeah.
But it's just to let you know it's there, so you can either integrate it, let it go, or just know that it's there. Like whatever you want to do with it.
If you can just witness it,
and
like not react to it, and just like take that home with you and process it, then the world gets smoother, and it worked itself out without making it like anybody's problem, really.
Seriously, yeah. And it's like, once you do that, but it's hard for people to get to that point. It was hard for me to get to that point, because I was
fighting your lip is not easy. I know, because I mean, people will push your friggin' buttons. I mean, but the truth doesn't need any defense. And if you feel, if you feel triggered, and you can just like, hold it and go, okay, I know where you are, motherfucker, and in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, in yourself. And it's not to say you're bad or there's anything wrong with you, but I think for so long,
you're doing your housework.
Yeah,
what problem did anybody have with that? You're doing your housework in your house.
Yeah,
because that's your.
And there's so much power in that, and it's like, for so much time, I feel like people have been taught to do one of two things. They're either taught, like, okay, you should defend yourself, and then hate them even more and make it more clear how the boundary, and basically cut yourself off from yourself,
There's a lot of that happening, and I've come to the conclusion, whenever somebody's talking shit about somebody else, especially in public, that they're not doing their own housework.
That's true, and they're not going to get away from it. It's going to follow them. Even if they cut those people out of their lives, which is the other thing that keeps happening, people literally are just like family, friends, whoever, based on a single comment.
You can't run away from it forever. It's going to catch up to you eventually. Yeah. That's why I felt like I had to really reach out to my dad, because I cut him off for 16 years, and that weight, I was carrying it around. It's like if something is left undone and undealt with, it has to be dealt with somehow. And sometimes you don't get the chance to do that with that person. It has to be someone else, because that person may die or something, might happen. And so it's better just to get it out of the way expeditiously, if you can do it.
I agree. And when people don't, you're right. Like, if you lose a person, if something else happens, eventually you're going to have to get through it with somebody, but it's going to be like a rough thing to not be able to do it with the original, because
it's harder every time.
Yeah.
And it's carrying that weight.
Yeah. Relationship.
And that person is not going to be like responsible for that weight that is inside of you, but you're still going to have to figure out a way like to process it through them if that's how you have to do it. Ugh. You don't want to do that to anybody, right?
Yeah. And it's like you'll find the same character showing up in your life like all the time. And that's the one that you never figured out and you never like accepted was in you. That's all that it is. But people are like, I keep having these people that take advantage of me. I'm like, I love you so much, but the only way I can help you is to tell you that that's you, but you just are so disconnected because it's hiding in your subconscious. You know, if you want to accept it, great. If not, then okay, have fun with that. But that's just going to keep happening.
Well, what's really interesting is I was familiarized with this concept in the Mayan dream spell. There's there's a saying, it's in Lakech, and it means I am another you. And if you can look at people as if they were another you, and you see that you're projecting on them, they're projecting on you, you're projecting on each other, and you could sort it out in a way that is much more gentle.
And lately, I've been finding you can do it in your mind and actually get most of it done without even talking to them.
Yeah, because the majority of the problem is right between here and here. and sometimes it gets deeper and you're wounded into your heart. And that just makes it easier for your heart to expand. You just have to fill it up with some stretchy types, like stuff in the cracks, and then it just can get bigger. You know, how else is it supposed to get bigger?
And the universe almost gives you a little prize. Like usually, once you've done some of this, I feel like there's like a method to the madness. It's like you integrate something, and then usually that moves you. Basically, it's crazy because it's just like the undoing of what you did as like the infinite expansive self, and then when you start to like become lighter because you're no longer carrying that weight, that trigger, that trauma.
No, like being a balloon on a string.
Oh my God, yeah, that's like manifest. Consciously manifest. Yeah. Sorry, you're always manifesting, but consciously manifest.
Yeah, sometimes you're manifesting. That means that you're manifesting things that you don't want because you're focusing on what you don't want instead of what you do want.
Yeah, all the fears and stuff. And then there's the people who try to like tuck away all the fears, and it's just like if you tuck away the fears, they're gonna come up somewhere unexpected.
Yeah, you can fold them down, but they only can fold down so small. And you can make a pearl out of them.
Yeah,
you can make a pearl out of them, like if you got a little clam in you. But eventually, the pearl's got to come out, and it's there because it's an irritation. And yeah, you can turn it into something beautiful, but it's all done within you.
It is. And it's so powerful when people actually can get to a point. Like now you can't just say that to people and they won't hear it. Like me 5 years ago, I would have been like, what the hell are you?
I just say it anyways, and then I walk away. Because the subconscious hears you. You don't have to make them understand it. Their subconscious knows. And it will acknowledge it. And it will start working that through. It'll go, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. And then their life might get a little harder for some, if they fight it, But it's just like, it's like little landmines, little bombs, of love bombs. Not in the narcissistic sense, though. Their love bombing is bad. But that's what's weird about words is like they're so tricky. It's like they have to be able to hold more than one meaning, and they have to be transformed into from one polarity to another polarity because they hold both, just like we hold both. It's like in a past life I was a horrible person. I did horrible things. I can have that consciousness of that in me and know that means that I've already done that. I don't need to do that anymore. And I can be good. I can choose to be good. It doesn't make me bad to have done bad things in past lives. It's like, and I came into this life with very little bad karma, according to my astrologer. So.
Oh, there you go. You did work the whole time. So whatever bad shit you did, you kind of like owned up to it and dealt with it.
I paid a lot for the bad things that I did. And now I get to enjoy my freedom.
And help other people break out of it too, because just by showing them like this is how I am, like the becoming is just basically returning to you, not whatever you got programmed
Exactly.
with when you were
And we're
little.
all returning to God because God is all of us and
Mm-hmm.
everything. It's like we're just shattered little fragments of everything that is.
Exactly.
But
And
what really, it came to me earlier this week that we're trying to put God back together. We're trying to reconnect, but the difference this time is whenever we're all put back together, we're going to be self-aware, whereas before God was not self-aware.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My
We
crown
get,
is like super tingly. Sorry, what are you saying? Now I'm like getting all these tingles.
yeah.
It's very true. It's very true. And it becomes more fun when you can look at it like that. Like crappy stuff happens,
Mhm.
but you
It's all
gotta
part of a beautiful story.
right, right. Like there's more than just that. That's not like the whole thing. And it's not what you're supposed to focus your attention on. It's just a piece, a tiny little piece.
Yeah, and everything is important. Even shitty days are important,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Like,
Mm-hmm.
without the shitty days, we wouldn't know what the good days are. And like, without like the stumbling blocks, we wouldn't, know how to jump over them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, it's true. And I mean, like just the other day when I was over in Monterey, we were like on the beach, like we're going through all these like different like tide pools and playing with like crabs and stuff, and it was just such a beautiful day, and like the ocean was just so like it just kept going and going. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, oh, it'd be so nice. Like, this is so beautiful. And like, there's this moment where everything just kind of like reset for me. It was like, right, duality, there's a reason. You can't enjoy the beauty of the waves if that's all you ever see. Like, if your entire existence was just the side of the ocean, although we might see it as if you don't always experience that as like amazing, you know, until you get away from it, you can't appreciate it as much. You gotta have both. So you see the crap so you can appreciate the stuff that looks actually really amazing. And it's dependent on where you're coming from too, because like you attach, values and meanings to like everything. And so but we don't always look at it like that. We kind of are like, oh, this is so wonderful. It's like the grass is always greener. You can't just be
Yeah,
happy
it's not
where
all
you
love and
are.
light. It's also shadows, but darkness is just a kind of light that we can't see because we're not equipped with
Yeah.
organs to detect
Yeah.
it. It's all vibrations and it's all light, really.
And
It's all
the thing is,
radiation.
the highest frequencies, like highest frequency beings, they aren't absent of evil and bad and shadow. They are fully integrated. As much as they are light, they are also darkness, but they don't choose to express the darkness as their primary expression. But they own it and it's in
Well, of
them.
course, because they make up us too. It's like I think
Mhm.
we form like how in science that life evolved on Earth. Like things started out with one cell, and they joined together. But this was, of course, after everything blew apart into like dust. And then it all started to come back together because that's what phase we're in right now is we're coming back together, and it like one thing ate another thing, and that thing managed to survive inside that other thing,
Mhm.
and they joined forces, and it's like the same thing like is happening all the time with consciousness, and yeah, eventually we're gonna make a friggin' badass life form or two, and then those will join together, and then it'll be an ecosystem of heaven or whatever.
Mhm.
I don't even know
Mhm.
what that means, but it's just like that's what's coming out.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, and that's okay. That's like perfect. It's not always having that definition. It's just whatever it is that needs to be said, and that's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I know that the well has always been like a really like a symbol for me. It has to do with some of my like program triggers that are like good triggers. That's what trigger like basically I have phrases that I say, and if I say them in sequence, then I am like basically able to flip switches of my consciousness to a certain wavelength of frequency. Like I'm tuning a radio station by saying those things. I'm tuning it in and
Mhm.
turning it on. And and it has to do with pennies and wishing well, and
Hmm.
it it's like a symbolic thing. And then like later I realized the guardian of the abyss is Abaddon, which is an angel. I don't know if you like looked into that since we talked last
I
time,
haven't
but
had a chance to channel. I'm gonna sit and just maybe like this weekend spend some time like getting some kind of downloads from them. I haven't done it yet, but I actually just haven't had a chance to. I am interested and I have it
yeah,
in a little like my journal of
yeah.
things that I'm gonna
But
do.
it's really cool because Abaddon is the guardian of the abyss and like holds like basically if you know anything about like the story in Revelations that came from John, not John. It was John, the one that was related to Jesus. He was a prophet, like, but he was basically he was schizophrenic, but
Hmm.
like also very like a lot of schizophrenics. I'm gonna say something controversial. A lot of schizophrenics are psychic,
No, I think you're
and they're
right.
actually yeah yeah they're actually seeing things on a different level. Because I've had conversations with many people that are like what we would call crazy, that are not crazy, but that doesn't mean everybody is. I'm not a doctor,
And
but
maybe everyone doesn't want to experience that level of seeing like it because it can do, but it's not bad for a being to choose or to like end up in that. It's just like that's what their soul decided, and that's kind of the route they went down. But like
Mhm.
it's definitely not bad inherently. It's just like that's a different perception of the planet. They have different glasses
Yeah.
on that are
Well,
filtering different things. Or
and
less
like
differently.
the stories that are in the Bible, if the basically like somebody talking to a burning bush, you know, things like that, we would be thrown in a mental institution for that if it was today. Um,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot of bravery to be able to like craft craft your visions into something that can still be appreciated for a prophecy or something if you're a prophet. Um, and I don't think a lot of people have that skill yet. It hasn't been cultivated, you know.
Mm-hmm. And it
And it's
takes a
like that.
lot of unlearning because you really like before you can go ahead and say like, okay, I want to see that. You got to take away all of the dirt and muck that are blocking that, like that are filtering it out. So you can't like if you don't take away all the stuff saying you can't see it and all of the things, the reasons like
Yeah,
the fears, the like rejections
yeah,
and stuff.
because we're programmed to be good like slaves and
Mhm.
good workers, and you know, be productive and consumers and whatever. But yeah, in order to cultivate something that is that type of thing, you have to kind of go against all of those programs, and you have to rewrite those programs, overwrite them in your head.
Yeah. And it's amazing how powerful that is when you start to really play with it. And I know from the sound
Mhm.
of it, you have been. It's just like
Nobody can do it for you. Like people can give
no.
you tools to
Yeah.
help you do it, but it's you that has to do it. It's like nobody can really read your gene key for you either. I mean, somebody can put it together, but you have to go over the information. Like basically, like I could take like your gene key and I could like pull out all the sections in the book that are referring to you, but then like you have to read it and integrate it. It just doesn't work for me to like say. I mean, I could conjecture, but it would make much more sense just for someone to read it and find themselves in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that's great is like it kind of goes along with like readings or anything else. Even when you give a
Mm-hmm.
reading, it's not you now sometimes guides will bring in like a channel message or something like that to share, but a lot of the work, the real like heavy work that goes on during a reading to like kind of get a person to answers, it involves engagement with the person. It's not just like everything is just like perfectly handed to the person. It's like you're like we act as like a guide to help them navigate almost their subconscious and their like all of the magical side that they can't see by going off of the cues that they give. But they have to come up with the cues in order to for us to like facilitate it at the like at the most optimal levels.
Yeah. You know, whenever I used to read, I basically I had a deck of the Thoth, and I had taken the Nine of Swords out because I had a bad experience, and I didn't want to like have that experience in any other readings before. But then just recently, Ina Otterath has started doing the minor tarot for the conjunction tarot, and she on her page on IG here, I was looking at the card for that she's drawing for the minor arcana, and she started with the 9 of Swords.
Oh, really?
Like, and I'm looking at her version of it, and I see like in the nose area, it's like a face, and then there's like 9 swords all going in the head, like at the top of the head, and I see like a stairwell going up the nose, and there's a doorway like right here, and it's just like there's like a girl like in a dress like running up the staircase towards this tower, which is I think a lighthouse. I'm not sure, but it would fit in with that symbology, and I'm like, wow, there's a whole nother level to that card. And I like have like I've gotten a new deck of Thoth since, and I've had it in my deck for like over a year and a half still, but it's like I always dread whenever I get that card. Like, and recently it's come up a few times, and I'm like, oh, there's a whole nother dimension to it. It doesn't mean necessarily that someone is going to die or anything like that, because I had a bad experience. It wasn't that bad. I mean, I didn't know them personally, but it was a job that I had worked on, and the person that we were doing the job for was not gonna like live to pay us. And it doesn't really matter now. I mean, I didn't get paid, and I was just fine. But it was just like, that person is dead, you know. But
yeah, but you didn't kill them.
I mean, no, I didn't kill them, but I still hate to have to give people bad news like that. But I guess, yeah, it wasn't really. I didn't know them, and I don't like when anybody dies, but I guess it wasn't really all that bad of news beyond, it's going to sound a little selfish, beyond not getting paid, but I do work all the time that I don't get paid for it, and it's fine. It'll come through eventually. Yeah. I do what I want anyways. So if I'm going to do something and want to do it, I'm going to do it. So if I don't get paid, then I don't get paid. The universe will balance it out.
Yeah. Like, I mean, sometimes you're just doing it because you're getting inspired, and it's meant to come through. Whatever happens downstream could be like a whole long set of events that comes back to you eventually, but like you may never find the actual pathway to get it gets back, but it'll come back.
Yeah, well, and sometimes you know that someone needs you to do something, and you just have to do it too. It's just like you just do it.
I've definitely had readings like that where like there have been times, like usually I don't do too much. I just go with whatever my guides say. So if they say like it's like something can be discounted or something or a certain price, I'm like, okay, whatever you say. But like I rarely get to do discounts and stuff too often, but like once in a while there'll be someone who needs a reading, and so my guides will be like, offer it to them just to do it. Like, don't even, just offer to do it. And I'm like, okay, I'm sure there's a reason. I'll learn eventually.
Yeah, I've had people like show up in my DMs like, oh, so you read tarot? Will you do my cards? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then we never talk about money, and I never bring it up. Sometimes it just works that way.
Yeah, you just your inner guidance, like whatever your intuition is telling you to do, you do. If you follow it, there's nothing but good that can follow. Like sometimes it gets murky, but like there's a light at the end of whatever tunnel you're going through.
Well, and there was like one person that booked a reading with me, and like I thought that she wasn't gonna pay me. I thought I like gave her the address and stuff, but she didn't get it or whatever. And she came back and she actually paid me. I was like, whoa. Maybe she was like, maybe she didn't have the money at the time, but she needed the reading, or she wanted the reading, and maybe something came up and she had to spend the money, but she came back and she paid me, and it was like, wow, and it was like perfect timing. It was like, wow, that's amazing.
That's true. And sometimes what I found too is like there'll be a bunch of stuff that I do, but I'm not recognizing that I'm doing something to block the return exchange. And I'm like, sometimes I never know what it is that finally like kind of like got unclogged or unblocked. But I've been starting to pick up at times now where like all of a sudden money just like starts coming in, and I'm like, what exactly just happened? Because like, we're always calling in, whatever, abundance, money, do whatever we want. But then there'll be times where it's just like, and it's not just like it just happens. Nothing just out of nowhere happens. Like there is some connection to the universe and the consciousness of your soul and some level. There's like all this bigger stuff going on. So when that happens, I'm always just like super curious to see like, what is it that I let go of at that point? Cause the only way all of a sudden stuff just starts showing up is because, or it's like when you suddenly have like a line of manifestations that just show up. Like, you could have spent months calling it in, and all of a sudden, bam,
And
bam,
you had
bam.
like even forgot about it at that point. Whenever it happens, you're just like, whoa, and then it just comes in. It's like, timing is about the universe controls the timing because timing is supposed to, everything fits in this like puzzle pattern that we're like experiencing, and I think that there's parallel timelines to ours, and they bump into each other every once in a while where you can like just slide over. And that's like, it's like figure skating, sort of like you're on a blade and you're gliding across this ice, and you know, sometimes if there's somebody's hasn't zambonied it in a while, you might hit a bump and jump, you know. Jump wrong, fall on your butt, you know.
And there's definitely times where I feel like things are cycling quicker or slower. And I've noticed like there's these moments of acceleration and you can choose, you either stay a little bit higher frequency, meaning and not meaning like only be happy and positive. I mean, higher frequency meaning you're legitimately accepting everything that you are, good and bad, feeling everything you're feeling.
In order to do that, you have to rise above it, right? So you're like,
and like just integrate it. But if you dip low and you get stuck in the past or freaking out about the future, then you can go spiraling downwards fast. And then, I mean, it doesn't really matter. You'll come back up eventually. But like,
well, that's because obviously you needed to orient yourself to where you are. And whenever you hit the bottom, if you hit the bottom and you land on the bottom, like at least you know where you are. So you're reoriented. And if you see the bottom coming and you hit it just right, you can bounce.
It's true. It's true. And when you start to really be conscious about it, you can take advantage of these things so much more than you're just like kind of like feel like you're just being like batted around like a ping pong ball or something. You can actually start to go like, oh, I actually get to consciously go in the direction I would like to go. Now, sometimes you
I'm not just the ball, I'm also the paddle.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly right. Because you have all this power if you just own it, but the owning it's the hardest part. And that's what separates everyone.
It's responsibility. It's a lot of responsibility. I think that was the hardest part that I had was like, am I going to let people down? You know, what if I decide to change my mind? You know, like, but that's, you know, it is not my job to think about that. It's just like, I'm just doing what I'm doing, and I have to trust in that if I change my mind, I can make it work. And yeah, some people might be mad that I didn't live up to their expectations, but that's not my fault. I didn't set those expectations.
And what I've really seen with a lot of this is a lot of their response and reaction is like driven off of my energy. So like if I feel guilty and like I'm doing something that's going to be upset, then I notice the person typically responds that way. That's like, you know, they're hurt or they're upset. But when the times that I'm like, nope, this is what I'm doing because it's for me. I'm not hurting anybody because I'm doing it. I'm like excited about this and I'm just doing it because it's for me. It's like suddenly everyone's like very supportive. And it's like, and that's the conscious part. There's like a whole, like we were talking earlier about the unconscious part where it's like sometimes you don't see that there's something else like deeper in you that's causing the reactions. But sometimes it's literally just at a conscious level. It's like, do you feel happy about doing it? Are you constantly acting? And I used to be the one that was like, oh no.
Yeah, how is it serving you? That's what I would say. How is this serving me? Is it serving me? Is it serving others? Is it serving anyone? You know?
Yeah.
And one of the greatest things that I discovered recently is how I can help others see where they're seeing things from a perspective that isn't accurate with reality. You know, it's like if someone has like some deep-seated guilt or like feels like a burden or something like that, and it's just their inner self, and it's not really the case, like telling them that, like look, I've seen you, and that I know that you're not like, you're not a burden, you know. It's like why don't you just like ask, like ask people like these questions, like find out if it's true or if it's all like a mental creation that you're just like putting on yourself for whatever reason. And you can get to what the reality of it is, which is usually like not even close to what you imagined half the time, at least half the time, probably even closer to like 90% of the time. It's like whatever like imaginary like things that you've like come up with in your head are not nearly as bad, or the reality is not nearly as bad as that, what you came up with. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
No, I know
Everything backwards.
No, but it's so, but like, and that's why people who are awakened, who you come across, are like glitches in this matrix. It's because they don't, and that's part of what we're here to do, kind of like to break all the karmic cycles, because when you don't emanate the feelings that draw those crazy, terrible experiences, then you stop the karmics. That's part of what the karmic cycle is. Energetically, the only reason there can be a cycle is if one person is unconsciously continuing to feel guilty, feel sad, feel, you know, all of the victim mentality.
Well, and if you turn a circle on its side, you may just find that it is a spiral up, a spring.
Yeah. And it's like the second
you're just looking at it from that one angle, and it looks like a circle, and it looks like it's not moving, but it's really like capable of going like this. You know?
Yeah. And as soon as you make those statements where you're like, you're not a burden, like they're like, it breaks, like it glitches the program that they're running, where they're just like, wait, it's not perpetuating anymore. So they finally get to like start to break out of it. I mean, it takes time, of course, but like that's half of what we're here to do, is just glitch everything to stop them from getting responses.
It becomes a positive feedback loop. If you like feel like giving someone a compliment that is a sincere compliment, and you don't give them that compliment, you're holding up the process. It's like you just need to just give them their sincere compliment, you know. It's like, and don't like give them a fake compliment to make them feel better. Just like really tell them something good that you've seen in them, because everybody has a good thing that you've seen in them. Like there's nobody that I've ever met that I've only seen bad things in.
And like trying, and anytime you try to like every response you give that's not a reaction is like taking the whole thing down another notch. Just like, you know, if someone comes at you angry and you don't get offended or get angry back or throw that energy around more, it gets grounded, and then there's only so much they can do after that. They literally can't do anything, because they're like, you're not,
like, I'm unoffendable. You could call me whatever you want, and it's like basically like, until I know somebody, there's no way that they could ever hurt my feelings until I know them personally. And if I know them personally and they know me personally, they're not going to want to hurt my feelings,
right?
You know?
Yeah. And if you don't believe there's like a million things out in the world trying to get you all the time, you will experience a reality where you are much more supported. Now, that doesn't mean be blind. There are shadows. So if you haven't integrated those shadows, you definitely don't want to go wandering around in the darkness that is your subconscious, because that's going to suck. I mean, you can. I just don't know if I would.
I used to be afraid of the dark until I realized that I'm the scariest thing out there.
It's true. It's true. But that's only, it's like but you have to do the part where you own all of the shitty, crappy things first. And you're like, that's me too. So definitely, I'm good now.
Yeah, it's hard to hold on to your self-esteem while you do that, though, because you're like, but you realize, once you realize, though, that it was just like, that was just a step in bringing you to what you are now, then it's just like, makes you bulletproof in a way, you know? And not to say that like something can't just come and hit you out of left field, because things like that happen all the time. But it certainly makes bouncing back from that a lot easier.
Yeah. And you start to really be able to appreciate it for whatever it was that it was supposed to do. Because usually if it came out of like you don't know where, there was something there. There was like a
Oh
value
yeah,
of some kind. But until you get
yeah.
to the point of knowing that, it's hard to hold those. Because you're just like, oh
Well,
my God.
that's how insults work. If somebody is throwing rocks and they just like, if they're say, we'll just like for this imaginary thing, say that there's something in you that rock would stick to because you're magnetic or whatever, and it's like say it's a magnetic rock, and if you don't have any of those like things to pull it in and let it stick to you, then it's just going to bounce off, and maybe you'll have a bruise, but it's not like it's not going to stick to you. But if like people are throwing insults and they're like things that you hold in you that you haven't released yet or integrated yet, then you're just going to get weighted down with all of it, and it's just going to stick to you. It's like Ice Cube was like, there was this interview that was from like 1996 that I was watching the other day that I'd never seen before, and it was actually on Never Seen Interviews or something like that on YouTube. And he was talking to this like really conservative white lady, and she was like curious but scared, and she had a young son that she didn't think that rap was a good influence on him, and she's like, you're saying all these things, and he was like, well, with people that I hang out with, we give each other shit all the time. We're always like, saying things, insults, and if I throw something at you and it sticks, then maybe you ought to look at it, And it's like, there's something there that is sticking to you. Otherwise, I didn't, it didn't hit you, I didn't throw it, because it's like, if somebody's like, if you're not insecure about something that somebody's teasing you about, then you won't be hurt, It's just the way it is.
Exactly. And there's like some kind of a wound there. It could be like ancestral, it could be just from this lifetime, but like it's definitely a wound there.
Yeah. Well, and you can still be hurt by people because sometimes you can trust the wrong people.
Yeah,
and
totally.
they know your vulnerabilities, or they know how they can like gaslight you or whatever into like, because you care about them. But those people, they get exposed real quick,
And at the essence though, even those are literally just a subconscious fear that we didn't realize we were holding. Because like it has to have something to be called up to be experienced. Otherwise, we won't ever see it. At least that's my experience.
That's not necessarily true though, because sometimes it's their thing and they're just trying to project it on you.
It could be, but if it's in your subconscious, how would you know?
Yeah. So, well, that's the whole thing, is you have to know that sometimes people project on you, and it's not that they're always projecting on you, because sometimes there's a thing, but you have to evaluate it. You have to discern whether it's them or you or both, because sometimes it can be both. And
it can be both.
If we can do that with kindness, though, it would be so much better than like all this hashing out and fighting. I'm sick of the fighting.
The fighting never does anything. That's the part that's just like, I mean, we've done this for the existence of humanity, and yet still somehow continue, even though
because we don't get that we're all connected and we're all the same.
Right.
I mean, we're different, but we're all the same. We can hold both.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. And people have this tendency to, and I mean, like it's a choice, but there's almost this education of people, because I know you like to talk about the words and stuff and the different meanings. There's been this massive like attempt, and I can stop if you think it's too much for any group, but like there's just this massive like educating of people to feel like they can't control things or they can't do things. And
it's a programming.
Everyone
makes them good workers, good servants, good slaves.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not saying like this is something that we should actively do now, but I'm just saying, why are we reminding someone in a way that's not empowering them? It is like, if your goal is to support someone and help them grow, you tell them they're infinite and how they're infinite and how they can access that infinite nature.
Yeah.
Not that
and if
you are less than.
my teeth or my zipper's down, I want somebody to be able to tell me that, not to like just giggle and keep it to themselves, you know? It's like, please support me. Tell me I have something in my teeth. And yeah, I'll be embarrassed for a second, but I would rather like somebody that cares about me tell me rather than like keep it to themselves and just let me look stupid, you know?
And tell you it's okay. It's okay that you have this like giant smear across your face. It's okay. Those people are stupid. Don't listen.
I have a zit right here. I have a zit. I know I have a zit.
You don't have a smear, by the way. You're good. Your face is beautiful. But like, I feel like that's just a release of something that needed to come out.
Everybody gets them. Everybody gets them. Everybody's had a zit.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it doesn't make anybody less than or like.
I had horrible acne as a teenager, so like having one is like, oh my God, so not bad.
Yeah, and it's just like it's a part of the body. The body is not meant to be rejected at any level. It's like that's just a part of it there. If it wasn't there, you'd have a chunk missing out of you. I mean,
I think probably if I hadn't had bad acne, I probably would have been like so friggin' like, I'm so pretty all the time. And I would have been just absorbed in it, you know? Been like, I would have been like a self-absorbed cunt.
I love it. No. Well, no, we all probably would have been, to be honest. Like, all of us had the potential to go down that route if we had been, like, just always able to look as the way we wanted to look. And
Well, and I have, like, one eyebrow. If I don't pluck my eyebrows, I have, like, just one. It goes right across.
I pluck mine, too. Yeah, I definitely. This is just, yes, like, this is what that's not what I look like. Just for, like, if I didn't maintain at all, yeah, I would look a lot different. But I don't do it because I'm worried or afraid of what other people think. I'm like, I do it because I'm like, oh, this is what I like. If other people like it too, cool. If they don't, okay.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I dig that. I dig that a lot.
Yeah, I think I'm like, that's the part where I feel like if we could get there with the words and everything else, we would all be so much more solid and like connected. Because it's that. It's like, can we hold all of it? Can it all exist together and it be okay?
Yeah. It's like, I will tolerate anything that tolerates me.
And it's like, you need to live with it? No. But can you let it be there? And can you not?
Yeah. Basically, like, mind your own business. That's what you ought to be doing. Everybody ought to be minding their own business. And that is not to say that because we're curious, you know, like, and there are people that are doing things in dark corners somewhere that they ought not be doing, that need to be friggin' stopped. But if that is the case, that's going to come up, because if we're all like okay in ourselves and we're not like distracted by things that are nothing that we can change, nothing that we can do, then we will notice those things, you know. We'll notice what's really important. And right now there's like this whole big distraction machine, like constantly just distracting people. I mean, and we're learning like how to navigate that distraction and still get shit done. So we're at least moving in a positive direction. So for once, I'm glad about that. So glad. But part of it is like being able to look at things like out of order and put them back together, because it's like, you're like, you know, like you see this little bit here, this little bit here, this little bit here, and then you're just like, what do I do with this? And you're like, oh, I'm going to rearrange them because we're really good at that. And we put it back in order. It's like, I can give you a sentence of words that are all scrambled and you can put it back together. And every time I have a new one that's scrambled and you put it back together, it gets easier. So like, yeah. Oh, somebody's, what do we got comments wise? You want to read some comments?
Yeah. Let's see. There's a lot of different people who've come through here, huh?
Yeah. And thank you for everybody that's come through. We're going to save the conversation and for other people that did not come through.
For anything to exist. Yeah, totally, Zach.
Oh, love you, Zach.
Yeah. I have 7 eyebrows, 2 on my forehead, 2 on my eyelids, and in the middle of, and the 2 from childhood.
Well, I I have lots of eyes. I've got these two eyes and then the third eye, and then there's one that looks backwards. You know, it's like weird chakra eye. I don't know where that came from, but
Hey,
it's like
you got it.
it's like a lion. It's a lion. It's got like lots of eyes. Like the strength card, you know, it's like the three-headed lion. I got that thing. It's on reins.
That's so cool. I love that. That's really cool. I'll have to take a look at that image. No, but it's, you know, but you honor what you got, you know, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be in a textbook for you to like own it and accept it. And I think
if you resonate with it, it's yours.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part
But
of
it
it.
doesn't
Like,
mean it's just yours, because it can be other people's too.
oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, like, there's the reason that you experience the people around you, usually because there's a resonance in it that's similar. And so it's like, usually that's one of the reasons there's so many synchronicities with all of us, with like the numbers or like a word or something that'll come up. And it's just like, it's because we're all running on the same frequency. So we're like able to confirm things for each other and kind of like bring it to light and make it more real. And then we anchor it into our reality, and then it becomes a thing. That's like, we see it all together. Like it becomes a bigger concept or a bigger like event or something that like comes to life.
It's really weird because like I had somebody earlier like DM me saying like something that they were sorry that they didn't get back to me sooner, but people showed up with cake. And I was like, oh my God, that's a sync. You're totally like, you're cool. Go. You know. It's like cake is one of my syncs.
Yeah, well,
and it's a triangular wedge of a cake. You know, like pizza is also a cake, and pie. You know, it's like there's like a bunch of different those symbols, like all like interchangeable wedges, triangles.
There's a lot of those, and when you start to learn them and read them, like you're doing, like for other people, if you pay attention to your syncs, you start to have a language. That's when you start talking to the universe. It starts giving you really like real communication.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, it is weird, but it's cool. I mean, I've been trying to get to this point. I mean, and that's like this friend of mine that reached out from 10 years ago from Deoxy. I can't wait to get an email back, because I'm going to go back and like go like, whoa, all this shit that I was saying 10 years ago. Look at this. And I have my witnesses all there, you know?
And the more you do that, the more you like own it and bring it to light and start sharing it. And you're like, yeah, like this is actually something I totally saw before. That like solidifies it, and it makes it happen more and more, because you're just like, you're finally like allowing yourself to believe it's possible. And then the universe is like, oh, thank God they're listening. And then like it just starts flowing.
It's so funny how that works, huh?
And it's just like, it's all there to make it easier for us if we're willing to just overcome the part of us that's like skeptical.
Programmed.
Yeah, programmed. Really, programmed is the right word. I mean, that's all it is just programming. Everything that's keeping us from ourselves and our like divine and infinite nature is literally a program. That actually,
yeah. Well, it's like
that makes.
I would have never come to the like Bella is the one that like basically I had already decided to like choose love over fear. If there was a choice, I was always going to choose love, no matter what. Like if it came down to, you know, love and fear, I was going to go with love every time. And then like we were talking about like ego death, and I was like, you know, I felt like, okay, this isn't cohesive with that. So what am I going to do different with that? So what can I do different with that? And I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll just like give it a different job, because it is part of me. It's going to forgive me. It's going to like, you know, and I was cruel to it. I was basically treating it like a bad slave, and inside of me, and basically like murdering it, but it kept growing back because it was only one angle of the ego that I was killing. It was that, and so it was just like growing back like a lizard's tail, you know, and being naughty, and it was just upset because it was only trying to protect me, and it wasn't equipped for that job anymore, because the world is so different from whenever that program was written. So it's like, we can just give it a different job. We're updating the firmware for that program. And
exactly. Yeah. That resonates so much more than that, because I think there was a very long phase where it was like, and I think it's a natural phase. It's like a stage that we go through where it's like the killing of it is like the only option we see, and everyone wants to kill it and make it turn up. But then it's like, once I started to learn to like almost appreciate it and like try to rationalize a little bit with it instead of just like hating it and going, because you like with humans, if they're upset and angry, there's
You're hating yourself whenever you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
It's what you have to really realize is that you're killing yourself.
Integrate it and like teach it. Like I feel like part of our job is to teach it, to like to elevate it and to kind of like help it evolve. Like I don't think it has to be death.
Point it somewhere else. I got mine back, like guarding my back door. You know, it's like so.
That works. You give
It's really funny because whenever commercials come on the TV or whatever, I just like, dook, they just go off. You know, or if it's something like particularly like triggering, it'll just be like, oh my god, what are they even thinking? Like pitching me this commercial? This is so stupid. You know, and I just like say it out loud and just like it. I don't even hear what it's saying after that because it's like, and it's like, I don't want that in my perception, so I'm gonna just, you know, tune it out. And that's what my ego is doing now. You know, it just does that. And like most of the time, it's good that it's there in the back, but sometimes I need to remember that it's got to have some like cameras pointing forward too. But it should be aware that its role is not to be paying attention to those 100% of the time.
Right.
And to watch the back door.
And it doesn't have to make all the decisions. It can just like hang out and be the observer for a little while.
And it's in charge of like, you know, say alerting the file guy or whoever happens to be in charge at that moment, like that, hey, this is going on. Like we need like all hands on deck, you know?
Well, and it was like so I kept getting this download not that long ago where there's almost like part of the function of the ego and like this more like human self is like to keep the human functioning. That's why it has the programs and that's why it has like the autopilot running where it can actually just like run as the human physical body. And then there's all these times that we get scared, we get triggered, and every time we get like hit with something really heavy and we react and we like kind of lash out or like, or we just get like terrified or something, or like basically our infinite self, our like soul or whatever you want to call it, leaves the body for a while and kind of like chilling on the side there because it can't deal with the crazy ass whatever the hell is happening to the body, which is like going insane. But then
we're detaching.
And then but like if every time that happened the person falls over and just like stops moving, it would be quite traumatic for the rest of us the rest of the time. And then the game kind of just suddenly like someone falls over. It's like no, it has to keep moving until the soul can get back in and then actually be part of like the process.
Yeah.
But it was just a funny image that they showed me when I was just like, you know, just like all the time, soul popping out, people falling down. They're like, do you really want that? And I was like, no, it's okay. I understand now.
I loved last night. That live was so funny. I laughed so hard. Your dog humping your arm. It was so cute.
She was just going at it. She's like these strong little.
Like, are my pets on drugs? Is what I was asking. You know, because like the kittens were doing that too, and I was like, oh my god, what happened? What? You know, what did they get into some catnip or something? You know, and it was just like, and then they were just all sleeping after that. And I was like, oh, they were just all the animals were activated last night. I swear.
Oh, I think so. You guess you got hit with some of it too. just
a little. I mean, the little girl kitten was just like, she was like attacking the rug and like doing like somersaults and like going, and she was just, I was like, what the fuck are you doing, cat? You know, it was just like,
what is happening in this world right now?
Right now I have 5 cats in my house because Kala's 3 kittens, but one of them has gone to its new home, and I was really worried because he was hiding out and hadn't come out of his hiding place at the new place, and I was like, oh, did I give him away too soon? And because they're like 8 weeks old, almost 9 weeks old, and I usually like to keep them a little longer, but they were just driving me insane. And so he had a home, and I figured, I was like, I'll just let him bond with his new daddy. And he came this morning. Whenever I woke up, I had a message saying that they're all playing now, and he's come out of his hiding place, and like everybody's happy. So I just cried a little bit before I went to bed, and then whenever I woke up, it was all good.
Aww.
So
Hopefully the energy's kind of shifted for the better for him too when he got hit with that.
yeah. Well, and his mama is totally better now. She spent one night like staring at the door, like waiting for him to come back, and I had to like, be sad with her. And I picked her up and I looked at her and I was like, he's got a good home. I gave the baby away, and I'm sorry that he's not here. And I hope you forgive me. And this morning she was like making bread on me, and she was like loving me. So I told her the truth, and she still forgave me, because that's what animals are beautiful.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I'm
No
sure
matter what.
it could be like an energetic connection too. I think they feel, and like once the baby got happy and was like content, and it felt like it was like able to kind
Not
of
scared. She was like, at first she was like, "Oh, my baby's scared. My baby's scared." And I could feel it too.
I think moms, I think they really can't, like, it's just like with like, human parents and animal parents, like I think they just have that connection where they'll know if something's off. And like,
What's really weird is right whenever I got the text saying that he was hiding and I was really sad, my mom called me.
God.
And so it's like, that's really good confirmation of that, because she talked me through it and helped me. It was really
all
sad.
the way back to the mama. That's
My mom is such a good mom. I mean, it's so crazy because she's just realizing too that she is connected to all of this, and she let me help her like learn that, and that she, she's awake now too. It's very cool, because I know a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people's families don't like accept them as they are, and I'm just here to say that mine didn't either, but that's the power of love. They love you, they will accept you eventually, or if they don't, it's not your fault, and you should still be you.
Yeah. And but one of the things I think that might have also shifted there for you guys was, and at least for me, I've seen this in my own instance and several others. There's a huge difference when you finally like own up to your whole self. Like if you are okay with whatever weird stuff you do, like if you're sitting there, because I used to like the more I used to judge myself for some of the stuff or question and go like, it's not real. Like, what am I doing? The more that's what I saw, like in the people in my life, like they would go like, what? It sounds like really weird. Like, why are you doing that? Like, but then like, as soon as I flipped the switch and was like, you know what? I'm just going to like, I don't care what anybody else thinks. It makes sense to me. This is real to me. This is how it's going to be. I'm not angry anymore. Then suddenly, like, people were like interested, and like the family was like wanting to know about like my like holding with 1111. Like, and it just like everything.
Well, because they start to see it too, and it becomes at a certain point. I think it becomes like they can't really ignore it anymore. It's like with Voxel. Like I have always told my friends, like, ever since it happened, like I have a interdimensional squid friend that like helps me communicate with people through the computer. Yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, some people will look at you and go, "Oh, you're serious," and I'm like, "Serious?" And you're like, "Okay." And at first, a lot of people will step back and just be like, "Alrighty then," but they can't rationally like look at me after knowing me. I don't say it right off the bat, but they have to like figure out a way to either integrate that I am Fruit Loops somehow, which is pretty hard to do, like, because I can communicate pretty succinctly and I'm pretty much self-sufficient, and if I was Fruit Loops, how would I be doing that? So I think that once you get to a certain level where you're like handling yourself and stuff, like I think it's really important to like put it out there to the universe, because it's supporting people like you that have these things, and it's giving them courage to speak their own truth.
No, it's true. And like, I used to be so scared of like saying stuff that like about this part of me, like in front of people, because I would just go, oh great, like here's the judgment, here's all of the like swords and the stuff from all of the like, history of time when you'd say anything that was real. And it's like, no, like, it's like now people, there's so many like waiting to be activated in you're all around us. And it just takes saying that one word. Like I like in my teacher training class, I like decided to start throwing around the word empath, and I was like waiting to like bracing myself to see like what it was gonna be, how it was gonna be taken, and it like immediately resonated with several people, and like understanding what that really
I had a
meant.
similar
Like,
experience in Clubhouse. It was like we started talking about like just people and triggers and stuff like that, and then it was my turn to talk, and I like brought it up. I was like, I just brought up some like precognition and things like that, and deja vu and dreams and things like that, and every single person that was in that room had an experience that they had never spoken about, and everybody except for a couple, but the couple that hadn't had that experience were very curious, and they wanted to ask questions, and I just answered their questions, and everybody else went around and talked about their experiences, and it was just like, whoa. I was like, this is fire, I just that's what I want every day.
well, no, it's so invigorating when you know that you suddenly connected at a higher level with people who weren't there yet, or who couldn't let that be a truth for them yet,
or that were stuck in some lower vibration, like
yeah, but they were waiting, like they know.
But I had to go down there to interface with them. It's like you can go down.
Oh yeah,
and bring people up. It's like sometimes you have to go down to bring people up. Sometimes they can't bring themselves up all the time. It's like, and it's just so easy, whenever you can see the big picture, to look and see like where the dirt is fertile and just drop a seed. You have to get down there in the dirt to do it, though.
It's true, and that's literally one of the reasons I've been I keep in the environment of the corporate job, because I asked myself, I'm like, is it because I'm afraid, or is it because I think there's something else still here for me? And if I were to leave, would I be too afraid? And I'm like, I legitimately don't think I would be that fearful. I would figure something out. But like, I do think there is a role for me there where I am able to activate and kind of.
That's like with me and staying in New Mexico. It's like, I just feel like I'm supposed to be here, and like, I would love to travel, but it's not there yet. There's something that I'm waiting for.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just like you picked up an assignment of people to work with, and once you get through those people, then you won't feel the attachment to the area anymore, because you'll have activated enough people, or the ones that you wanted to.
Well, and the resources will become available for me to be able to leave as well, and I can feel like that coming on. It's getting closer, and I feel big things coming for the whole world. It's pretty cool. I'm like excited for it instead of like cynical and depressed, because I had been very cynical and very depressed after like going through like a hellish 4 years of just like not me behavior. I was behaving as if I was not me.
Yeah, that's true. No,
I was like a paranoid spy. Just like trying to like figure out what other people were doing and not worrying about anything of my own. And it had to get so bad that I just had to do something and just change it, or else it was going to go really wrong.
And there is that inside switch that we have that kind of like gets flipped in us, and it was set. Like, we were always supposed to like flip it at the right time. But you can like see the progression over your life. You had to pick up all the trauma. You had to pick up the programs so you could release them and teach people how to. But it was at the perfect time, then you kind of got to go on this. You just started feeling this need to stop accepting everything you thought. It was like, I had the same, at least I had this process where it was like, all of a sudden I got to a point where I was like, wow, what is actually stuff that I care about? And I didn't read it in a book. It wasn't like I got like, someone told me this. It wasn't like, there wasn't something else. I was just like, I inherently felt like this thing I really hate. I'm like, I don't really hate it at all. I think my family hated it, but I don't care one way or another.
Yeah, is this mine? That's always a good question to ask. Yeah. Is this mine?
And I just felt on the path until I hit wherever I am now. But like it became more conscious. But in the beginning, it was just this natural questioning. And it was just like nothing I came across was like, oh, you should really analyze this in yourself. It was just like suddenly, naturally, feel like I want to know why do I care so much about this stuff? It's exhausting me. I really would like to know if I should care. Cool. But if not, why?
Yeah, it will make you old. It will make you old so fast. Like, just, yeah.
Too fast.
And luckily we can turn back the clock a bit, but like, yeah, those years weigh on you. And I know that I got older in those 4 years that I was like not being myself than I got in any of the years before that. I mean, like at the end of it, I was like looking at myself going, wow, there's really a big difference. And I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to change it.
Yeah.
But now I feel young again. It's like so cool because like I talk to people that are like much younger than me now. I had always been like a person that hung out with older people, and now it's like most of the older people that I hang out with are cool people, but it's like the younger people that I hang out with, I get really excited to hang out with them because it's like they're just like so friggin' smart and they're so cool and they think I'm cool. I don't know why, but they've said so. So I was like,
yeah, you accept.
I don't think they'll be bullshitting me.
When you actually allow yourself to be who you are, it's amazing. Like it draws people because everyone is wanting that. They've been so beaten down on themselves. There's so much of their life that they're and the kids, they aren't as quite as beaten down, but they're drawn to it because they're just like, why are you so like how are you happy? Like that's the question I get a lot of time. They're like,
why are you so weird? It's like it is to get curious a little bit. If you're just a little different, they're like, what is this?
When you stop being like a militant being, you start like being just genuine. It shifts so much because it's just like I can't tell you how many meetings like so the corporate world, you know, there's a bunch of people sometimes you don't know in a meeting. Almost every time I'm on a call with people who are new that I haven't worked with before, the first thing they ask me is like, you sound really happy. How are you so happy?
Are you really happy or are you just good at projecting it?
No. No, like
I know you are.
Yeah. I'll just like be like, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just like, no, I'm just happy. Like, how are you? Like, we spent like a couple minutes in the beginning of the call. It has nothing to do with this, but they're just like, and then I get people all the time. They're like, how do you be happy? And I was like, but I feel like that was my goal for a while. I didn't even know why, but I was just like, honestly, I just want to figure out how to be happy no matter what else is happening. Like, just not like a psychopath. Just like, and who knows, maybe the psychopaths are figure something out. Like, I don't know. But
I talk to anybody. I mean, you have to be kind of careful because there are dangerous people in the world, but
yes, yeah.
But they say don't talk to any strangers any stranger than yourself, and that's real hard for me to do because, like, I'm pretty strange.
Yeah, and I feel like your intuition picks up on stuff that's like you immediately people come up on your radar where you're just like, I'm just gonna watch. I don't know what to make of it, but I don't know that it feels right.
Yeah. And sometimes they'll do things that like make me go, I'm gonna step back a little bit, but I'm still watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can observe and and you don't have to be like panicked, but you don't have to like be right next to it. You could just be like, I'm gonna go a little bit further. You know what? I'm gonna go home.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make sure nobody's following me.
Exactly, but that's because you're feeling energetically what is off. I think more than anything. Yeah. Like I think a long time ago, maybe I was more fearful than genuine, but I don't even think so. I think most of the time you really do know something's up, and that's why you're like, I don't feel comfortable. And what drives me up and it's okay. It doesn't drive me up the wall. I think that was like a gut reaction. That was a trigger. But like something that I also have noticed is this push for people to ignore their intuition because it's supposed to make everyone feel good. And I feel like I understand, and I don't want anyone to feel bad. But based on like experience and energy, I think there's a level that it's best to trust your intuition to know what you should or shouldn't do, or a reader you shouldn't go to, or like, it doesn't have to be based on any particular, I don't think it is based on any kind of like a gender or a sex or like a religion or anything. I think it's really the energy of it, whatever that energy is.
The more transparent we can be with each other, like the better off that the world is, because like, I know that there's like some infighting with groups, spiritual groups and stuff, and people talking shit about each other and stuff like that. And I'm not even a part of it. It's but like I think that it comes from people not speaking up whenever somebody has an issue when it's small, and they let it get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it becomes a problem, and then they feel like when they have to deal with it, they do it like the worst possible way. They just like push someone out or like talk shit about them, and there's usually two things going on there. And the one thing is that they're not dealing with their own shit, like that was holding that voicing of whatever the problem was, that while it was small when they first noticed it, in, and letting, and it was growing in them the whole time too, and then that letting the grow in the other person without letting them be aware of it. And it's like, you can always, I mean, I encourage everybody, if you ever see like me doing something, you know, I will take it into account, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Just please be transparent with me, and I will tell you like what I see in you. And it doesn't have to be like I'm trying to tear you down or be critical or anything. It's like you're really great about that. I really like and I think the only thing now that I've noticed is that like you always make sure, and I think it's just a consistency thing. You're just trying to be consistent, saying like you don't have to do this or whatever, but it's like, yeah, I know. I know that I don't have to. At this point, I know you well enough that you can just say stuff,
yeah.
and I know that I don't have to. So, but other than that, it's like you're really great at just like I do the same thing with people. I'm like I ask them if they'll do something, and I'll say I'll put a qualifier on the end, like, you know, you don't have to, only if you want to, and I will still like you anyways.
You're really good at that too when you share stuff too, though. I feel like you don't really shove anything at anybody. You're just saying your stuff, and if someone wants to agree or disagree, like that's fine. Yeah. And don't feel like
putting it out there. And it's like you can take what you want. Always.
Yeah, and I'll take that into consideration too, because I think it's for the people who like they aren't used to, like, in the off chance there's like that newbie or something that's like easily, you know, like the really hyper triggerable way.
Yeah, well, and it is easier just to be that way consistently with everyone.
Yeah,
but everyone is different, and eventually, you know, you'll trust. Either people trust you or they don't, and so it's like
there is that side of it where it's like if it's not going to resonate at all, like if you can't hear it, if you aren't open to hearing it, and the only thing you hear is like you must do this from what and most of them I appreciate what you're saying. It doesn't sound like I'm really making it intentionally like you need to listen to this as your life's
I never took it that way
or something. But yeah, maybe it doesn't really need to be prefaced with something every single time, because you know they'll either get it, or if they really can't see that it's not being forced upon them, then they'll just be upset, and that's fine.
Have you noticed lately, like there has been like a reassertion of people like asserting their power of like they'll say I don't want to see this, but they're like declaring it to everyone instead of just like doing that, like unfriending, seeing something, you know. And I don't understand that at all. I'm like, well, why not just like turn that switch off? And like, why are you telling me? I mean, some people, I mean, really what you're doing is promoting the thing that you don't want to see.
I think it's the funniest thing. And then it's happening all over the place.
My attention, and I'm like, oh, now I want to go look at this and see what it is that the person is saying that they don't want to see, because what's wrong with it? I want to check it out, you know? And then I go and find out, like, it's just not their thing. But why do they bother telling me? I mean, now this thing that they don't want to see is in my awareness, and I kind of like it. So, and that doesn't make me like them any less when they do that. But it's just like, what is that coming from?
And it's so funny. I'm so glad you said that, because it's true. And there's all of this stuff about how like it's like boundaries gone wrong. Like the use of boundaries is good and healthy. I think boundaries are things that people
There's still this cancel culture thing that's going, like, I think it's like getting its last little
I
out,
guess so.
you know?
Yeah, that's probably what that is. It's just like this intense release to get it all done with. Because I'm just like, you don't have to tell the whole world, and most people don't think most are. And that's the funny, you know what's funny? It's usually like the 1 in 100 people that actually said something that triggered them. And then they feel the need to tell everybody in the world about their boundaries and give them like these explicit instructions of this is how you interact with me. Now, again, totally respect boundaries. I think they're good
Yeah, but
and
they
healthy
need
to have.
to tell each individual person that. You can't just like blanket statement and expect them to go back through your feed and say that's okay.
And then you're just offending kind of your whole people who are actually following. Not offending. I mean, honestly, I don't really care, but I'm just like, wow, you're really upset. you're
like, you want me to be way more interested in you than I am, you know?
yeah.
So do something really interesting then. If you want me to be interested, just do something interesting. Don't do something that is like disliking somebody else. It's like my mom always taught me, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yes. I feel that's a very aligned statement to have. Like, just don't. Why? Like all of, I swear, like, okay, TikTok, Instagram Reels or whatever, there's tons of videos. And there's ones that I come across where I'm like, that is not what I agree with, or that is a very maybe low frequency, but I'm just like, well, that's their feed, so they're allowed to put that there.
And you're training the algorithm by interacting with it. So
exactly. That's what I never understand. The people who are so upset about a post where they're like are just hating on it. And I'm just like, you just ranked this like 20 times higher than it needed to be.
It's because they like that apparently, and so all the more power to them. Let's let them go that way. That's fine with me, I guess. But I just don't understand it.
They get all upset when they see it more, and I'm like, but you're engaging.
Yeah, you focused your attention there. You were manifesting again.
Literally, very real manifesting, using an algorithm. You can actually follow that one, and yet you still feed it.
Yeah, well, and it's like there's like all this subconscious programming in society, like the whole Matrix thing is another one that I've been like working on dismantling that idea that we need to escape the Matrix, because like the Matrix is where magic happens. It really is. And what we're trying to balance out is the Patrix. So that's the new word
the Patrix.
For anybody. The Patrix, yeah. I have a whole like explanation for this on my feed if you check it out.
I'll find it. I'll find it afterwards and I'll look it up. No.
Yeah, for some reason it didn't seem to stick, but I think maybe I was a little bit ahead of my time for that one.
Could be possible. That could be possible.
But I did get a lot of support on it actually. It's been viewed more than any of my other posts, I think.
Huh.
But yeah, it's something that is close to my heart. And so check it out, people. It's like one of my signs, basically, but it's like a series of signs. And basically, the simple way to dismantle the Patrix and balance things out, because that's what we're going for. And we're in a magic timeline. Everybody should know that if you're watching this, this is a magic timeline. So good job on getting here.
Oh, yeah. This is the place to be. This is where you get to like manifest stuff super fast. Super awesome and magical. It's beautiful. It is like the most optimal timeline right now.
In ways that give you joy and with ease.
And you get freed of so much that you used to hold on to so tightly that you didn't actually need. And then you get bad things.
Yeah. If it resonates, yours.
Just honor that. And I think you're right about the Matrix, because that is another big one. I like, that's a whole thing in and of itself. And one day
and I hear people say it every day, and it's just like every time they say it, I just drop a comment saying it's the Patrix, you know, and then I move on. You know, that's it. That's all the attention that I give that. I'm like, you're almost there. You're almost there.
And that's different. Like that, I totally think is a line, because it's like, okay, you're just trying to drop a breadcrumb for someone. And then it'll resonate when it's supposed to resonate with the right people, and they'll find it, pick it up, and start following it. It's just
and it's really weird. I like follow people that I don't even like too, and I check out their stuff. You know, I'll look at what they're doing, because you never know whenever it's going to shift.
Totally.
And like I have plucked people from the comment section and like DM'd them, and I've made really good friends by doing that. And I never would have found them any other way.
Yeah, and that's what I love about platforms like Instagram and stuff, because you can come across so many different people just like by happenstance of like the right frequencies. And like otherwise, where are you going to come across them? If they live on the other side of the world, how are you going to find them? Like, I mean, you probably would in infinite time in this lifetime, but like this is like this whole electronic system. Like, I say crap about social media and how there's things that I don't like, but at the same time, I respect that it's a source that can be used for good in the right way if you allow yourself to. And then you just, you know, you can't just hate everything about it. If you're going to use it, maybe it's a little bit, but that's a cultural thing. I think hopefully I'm seeing people start to break out of where it's like, you hate it so much, but you're using it. Like I caught myself with that where I was like, it made me, I was like, I like can't stand social media. And then I was like, but I'm using it.
Yeah, well, and it is a tool of the youth, and like it's something that as long as we have it, we ought to be using it, because it is reinforcing these connections that we have across the world, to influence each other and like really make it like. Because I mean, I heard somebody say the other day that like if the internet went down, we would like that would be the only thing that could really like set us back as far as humanity goes. And I was like, well, but there's the other internet, you know, the other one that was there all along that we're like tapping into a little bit right now. That you know, that maybe that we would probably become a lot more reliant upon if the internet was to go down.
And much less distracted by the rest of the distractions they put on the internet.
Yeah, totally. Because right now we're getting both signals, and sometimes they interfere with each other. But the actual internet is a like manifestation of that higher internet that we have already. It's just it's a redundancy, and redundancy is very important, but if you want to keep our connections. But like I think that because we rely so much on this one connection, that we are totally like ignoring that we also have this other one.
I absolutely agree. I do. And it's so funny how people can see all of this on the internet and not get that it's a frequency thing. And it's like that literally exists out here. It's just you see it in a box, I guess, and so you think it's more real.
Yeah.
But there's nothing attached. You're just
well, that's the thing. It's like with tarot cards. It's like that is something that I noticed right away. I've been reading since I was like 14 or 15 years old, and I'm like almost 43 now. And something that I noticed is like I would be getting like I could tell someone just from having a conversation with them like the things that they would want to know when I was doing a tarot card reading for them, but they would not listen to me unless I was using this tool, which was it was like I'm making like a little storyline through the cards, and they were validating for me too, but it was like not even really necessary. It's like if I leave my house and I go out and I bump into somebody and we're having a conversation, I can read them like I read the cards, and I can tell them what they need to know. But they, for some reason, the cards and having the knowledge of the cards and just the you know, like laying out of this, even though they don't even understand anything about it, it somehow gives me an authority to be able to tell them that and have them take it more seriously. But I don't need it at all. I mean, it's a tool, and I've actually thought of it as a crutch that maybe I ought not to use for a while, but we're not quite there yet.
No, I agree with you. I'm the same way with the cards. Like half the time I'm just sharing messages I'm getting anyways that I'm like being called to share. And then I start pulling cards, and they're like all of the validating cards to the message. And I'm like, right.
Well, and really what I've noticed lately too is like everybody's reading is also for me. It's like I can tune into any reading and go, wow, that point really sticks to me too. And so they're all collective readings now. It's like
really
weird.
Really, and like when people trust themselves to just like bring through the right information the exact way that they're getting it, it's amazing how applicable it can be to people. Because like sometimes one word might mean 20 different things to all these different people. And like to one, it's like a memory from a family member. To another person, it's like, you know, their car or
It's like poetry and song lyrics, man. Poetry and song lyrics. Even whenever we get telepathy, we will still have like lyrics and poetry because it's an art. And being able to like say words in a certain way that have different meanings to different people is that's how I craft whenever I write poems. I want, like, I will say like one line from through throes of death they hardly fell. How are you interpreting that? Did they hardly fell, like they just fell a little bit, or did they fall hard? You know, it's like both.
Right.
And you can take it however.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. And I think that's something we don't promote enough in places. Like, I think there's like, I think it's honestly more valuable. I don't think there needs to be a more or less than. I think it's just whatever people are drawn to. But I think there was like a lessening of value of all of that nowadays, like than there used to be, because it was just it's all divine creativity, whatever you're creating. Because if you're technically a fractal of divine, then you're divinely creating. It's just, I feel like the poetry, the art, the music, that is all a much more interesting form of divine creation than
it's abstract. It's not like, yeah, like Scott does, like he did this art, and he does a lot of art that like is like different from depending on how you turn the
I love that.
And there's different things in it depending on what angle you're looking at it. I did the same thing with like that one there. That's like girls in the shower. That's like girls in the shower position, and there are girls in a shower of water. But if you turn it sideways, it's the desert. You turn it the other way, like in landscape mode, and it is the ocean. And you turn it upside down that way, and it's goats dreaming of sheep.
Oh my God, I love that. That's awesome.
And but I only title it that, and people can still see in it whatever they want. And if someone were to buy that art piece, they could call it whatever they want, you know, because it's abstract art, you know. But it has forms already, and it can have infinite more.
And I think like if people did that more with their kids, and it doesn't have, maybe it's painting, maybe it's sculpture, maybe it's music, maybe it's something else, but just took into a medium and just started letting them play with stuff and go like, which one do you enjoy the most? And like, what do you see? What is there? Like if you give them a ball of clay, like what is there? Like some kids will see, like they know there's something there that they want to like bring out of the clay and just take away all the stuff that's not it. And then in some kids are like, I don't know what the hell that is. So maybe they don't resonate with that. Maybe it's a different medium.
One of my favorite things to do is like scribble, like a scribble, just like random, like close my eyes and just scribble, and then make something from those lines, you know? And that's what I do. Like with that one, that one's actually wood grain. It's like a panel of wood.
That's really,
and there's like sections like this section right here that is actually the wood color, because I never even put paint on it.
That's so
it's just
cool.
It's just naked wood, you know, and it's beautiful. Just pulled something out of it is all.
No, I love doing that. I remember when I was a kid, I'd forgotten this. Like, I'm glad you said that, because I'm like, I'd forgotten this. Like sometimes I would just be randomly scribbling on my page. I'm not a drawing or a painting artist by any means, like at the level you guys are. But like,
I wasn't just at one point either. Just to let you know, it's a skill, not a talent.
I appreciate the honesty. But you're right. You're right. To be fair, like if people didn't just give up after the first like couple tries, you never know, there could be so much more. And but I would see like a random thing, and I'm like, oh, that looks like something, and I'd like turn it into something, and I was like, wow, it actually looks like something. And like, you know, but it would just happen every once in a while. But like, you would see it, like you see the image already there. You know what you want to make. I love
like staring at clouds. You'll do the same thing. You know, you can stare at clouds, and you can actually like make the clouds make shapes, not just see shapes in the clouds. It works both ways.
Yes, I think that is amazing and very empowering. And that's a really fun, easy thing. You can just do that. Like just go sit outside and do that. Like create things with the clouds.
Poking holes in the clouds was one of the first things that I did that I consider real magic.
Oh,
like
really?
3D.
That's awesome. I haven't tried to do that. I'll have to try to do that. What I've done is I've done like back during the fires. That was the first time I really understood how magic really worked because I was doing all this stuff with the angels and dragons and some other beings and stuff. And I was like, I would legit get a clear space over my house in the sky where like it was California fires, you know, they were terrible. I have a photo somewhere on my feed somewhere like further back during them where you could see what it looked like during the fires when everything was just like the way it was, and then after I had done a clearing you legit could see blue skies above my house and clouds, whereas everything surrounding me was all smoke, and it followed me throughout the day because I had like finally like permanent. I did it so many times. I
Your aura is big and it was pushing all the toxins out.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Like I walk under like light posts at night and they go off because they have a light sensor and they're seeing light that isn't like visible,
And
and
you
it
can
just lets you
short
off.
stuff. Yeah, like today when I have my nails done. When I was getting my nails done, the light kept flickering just at our table. It was like, and he kept like trying to figure out what was going on. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's me. Like,
Yeah,
I think it's me.
I like also like if there's an actual AM FM radio like that's on and I get anywhere like within like 5 feet of it, it like like goes out of tune. I don't know what that is. But the thing with clouds too is like you start with like just poking holes in clouds or like manifesting a cloud like in a part of the sky where there isn't any clouds. You can do that, or you can like actually do weird things like if there's trees around, you can like make the pattern of the trees match the pattern of the clouds match the pattern of the trees, the shape of the trees. You can poke triangular shaped holes, which is really interesting. I photograph usually whenever I'm successful. I always photograph, and I have like albums full of cloud photos. So
that's so cool. I haven't tried that before. I'm gonna have to do that now.
Cloud magic is like pretty easy because it's just vapor. It's just water vapor, and just like you're made of water, and people can like focus on water and freeze it, and it makes beautiful crystals or ugly crystals if they were focusing on something negative. The water is definitely like easily influenced by us, and electricity is too, because we're electric. And I have a feeling that we're gonna realize how we're connected to like other forces too, like plasma is a big one that I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, I think as you start to tap into some of these other energies, it gets really fun, and then you can just honestly, I'm sure there is literally no limit to what you can do with this. Like once you really own it, and you're like,
it always opens up another level. Every time you get something, it opens up another level that is just even more complex. It's like, and you know that you know things, but you don't know anything because there's so much more to know.
Oh my gosh, you don't know what you don't know. You're just like, well, I know all of this now, and I know a lot more than I did before. But
I just know it keeps expanding. What I don't know keeps expanding outwards, and so I'm just like, I just want to know more. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's just, yeah, it really, really is. And I think like it, I hope more families start to be more encouraging for kids to like, because
that was a big thing for me. My mom was so supportive. I mean, she knew I was a little weird, but there was something in her that knew that she had to teach me how to cope with my weirdness and my differentness, and just she never ever like told me that there was anything wrong with me, and I found out for myself. I thought that there was things wrong with me, and my dad definitely gave me enough of that, but just having that one solid person that just like loves you unconditionally. And there was a point in whenever I was a young adult that she lost herself, and I lost her temporarily, but I circle back always. Yeah. And it's just beautiful to have her back, and for us to both be realizing, like, because there was things that she didn't realize that she was aware of. I mean, we had this big conversation about it was basically, the symbology of it was that we were in a storm, like a tornado, like a cyclone, and that still place was in the center. It was like our escape.
Oh, so beautiful.
Yeah. And she taught me how to go there to that quiet spot. So
it's incredibly powerful. That is a great tool for a kid to have.
Yeah, and it saved me, like, because I never gave up that, because it was like that is my safe space. It's like the center, the truth in center. That's the only truth that I can know by myself.
Yeah.
Whenever we're all connected, then we'll know what's really true. But until then, we're just all exploring.
It's all, I think it's all the whole goal for ultimately, like, there's the magical fun side. There's like maybe the responsibility side of shifting consciousness and all of that is part of like just part of the whole thing. But I think a lot of it's just, you know, we do it through our fun as we explore and we find more fun things.
And we have fun with it.
Yeah.
That's the best way to get there is like, yeah, tell jokes and make each other laugh. I mean, and even if you're feeling bad, just fake smile, because that really helps too. It's like, that's magical.
It does. And it actually
does. Stand in the mirror and like, you know, I mean, I might look creepy when I do it, but I think it's funny. It's really funny. And I start to laugh at myself.
And that's perfect. Then like, you mission accomplished. You got yourself into a higher state. That's like perfect.
And it's not hard at all. It's like, I mean, no matter how sad I've ever been, like, if I can just do that, it's done. It's like, and it's not bypassing anything.
No.
It's just taking the power away from how you want to feel and making a choice.
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to see the difference between feeling all of what you're supposed to feel, or feeling what you're intended to for like your lesson or whatever your experience is, and then lingering in it to an unhealthy
you don't
level.
have to get bogged down.
Yeah, like you're supposed to feel it, but you're not supposed to feel it forever. I mean, you can, but that's going to take you a different direction.
And that's your choice. So you don't have to take anybody else with you if you want to do that.
Exactly.
We love company.
Mm-hmm.
And I just refuse to be even a part of that. I mean, I can feel still happy and keep myself at a high vibration when still feeling empathy for someone else feeling sad.
Oh, yeah. Completely. Yeah. And that's okay too. It's like, you don't have to be in the dumps if someone else is down in the dumps. You can just be there to, like, you know, let them express themselves and be heard and be the witness to their experience and let them feel what they need to feel and acknowledge that it sucks. You don't have to go like, yes, everything sucks for everyone forever. It's like, well, it's not really your reality.
And a lot of times whenever somebody is in that space, they don't want to be fixed. They are not looking for you to fix them. If they are looking for you to fix them, you can help them if they ask for it. Yes. But I think that people need to, like, you know, have consent for that. They don't just need to offer it up.
No, that's so true. And I used to make that mistake when I was younger. I used to try to help everybody. And it was just like, they don't want to try.
You're invalidating their feelings by doing that. It's like, whenever I realized that, I was like, holy shit, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I learned, and then I did things differently, as I'm sure you did too. It's just, but we don't, you know, until you know, you don't know. So as we grow.
And if nobody tells you.
Yeah.
How can they expect you to know? That's the thing that gets me is like, why don't they tell me?
You know, nowadays I do the thing where I'm just like if it's more obvious, sometimes I can tell just reading people, they want a couple words or they just need silence. I just need someone to be there. But once in a while, there's ones where I'm just like, they just come at you with saying stuff. And it's those people where sometimes they actually want to help, sometimes they don't. I'm like, do you want me to listen to you, or did you just want to, and like, did you want feedback, or did you just want me to listen to you?
Like, do you just want me to like validate what you wanted? Do you want me, you know, are you actually asking for like some like real truth? Because like, I can give you the real truth, or I can just like give you the answer that you want to hear.
Like, this is so
and most of the time, whenever like you put that on them, they're just like, they just disappear because they don't want to answer that question, and that's an answer in and of itself.
Because they literally just want to say the stuff and complain, and they want someone to like support that,
and they want to drag you down subconsciously or consciously. It's like,
because if you like relate to them at that level of, you're like, yeah, that's so terrible, the whole world's out to get us, and then it's like, okay, well, now you're going on that ship too, and it's not coming back. Like, it's got a big old hole in it.
Well, and you can choose to take that trip down with them if you know
As long as you
your
want
own
that.
power, and you can pull it back out. You know, if you've got enough experience that you could do that, you know, then it's perfectly fine to do it too.
Sure.
But it's all your choice, and if you're like doing this journey with somebody else, it's their choice too. So you should probably ask their permission.
Yeah, and like be honest with yourself, like, do you really want to go down there, or do you want to just float up top and wait for them to come back? Because you could do either.
That's what I usually do. I'll be like, I'll be here. I usually, one of my good ones that I just recently discovered, the things that I could say is, I don't have anything to say about that.
That's a very effective response that should not immediately trigger anything. And if it is, the worst case is they'll just walk away. And they'll go, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not getting what I want from you.
Well, I'm not going to get what I want from this person. Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah. When I don't know what to say, that is what I always say. It's like, I just don't know what to say about that.
I think that's a very good way. I think it's a very, anyone listening, it's a good strategy if you're struggling with people who come to you with very like reactive things that they want you to get all angry about too, is just respond that way. Very simple, very like unenergy, no like strong energies attached to it. Just
Yeah, you still care, but it's just like, you can still be empathizing.
like, I'll give you a hug. Like,
yeah, that's another one too. If you're in their space, I've asked people, I've like, do you want a hug?
yeah.
I'll give you a hug. And like, a lot of times I'll get the response, but I smell bad or what. I'm like, I don't give a shit, whatever, you know, just like,
Yeah.
that's my problem, not yours.
Exactly. You don't have
Like,
to get on yourself for
only
that.
temporary. It's not like you're going to make me stink.
Exactly.
I'm just giving you a hug. And I think some people have never really had somebody give them a real authentic hug, you know, and that's, you know, maybe nowadays it's dangerous, but I don't know. I've got a good immune system. So if anybody wants a hug.
No, I'm the same way. I'm like, I have all the respect in the world for everyone in each experience that they're going through. I think I think it would be healthier if all of the people that are in this like kind of like spiritual or awakened world or whatever you want to call it, they could get to a point of accepting that there is a soul contract that everyone has within themselves that's like their own deal, where like some people, like there are parents that legitimately have like completely loved on kissed their kids when they're not feeling good, and they're fine. Some of them get sick, some of them they're fine, but they always mostly all get better, and they've been doing that their whole life. And if you like, it's just everyone's different. Like, and I've known so many nurses that were like really, really like compassionate with their patients. Like, you know, they give them the physical contact, they like the love, and like also the support, and you know, like there's a million different things that could have happened to them if they were always in fear. And like, but and there's tons of stuff they've come into contact with, but the truth is they have an immune system. They have a functional, strong one. And
Well, and it needs to be bombarded with like dirt.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, I was just watching this thing about these ants today that like they live in a colony that like they don't even like take out their waste or their dead bodies. They're just like living in this like messy thing. And so the scientists went in and they got like dirt samples from inside of their nest.
Mm-hmm.
And they found that there was this huge diversity of fungus that lived in the colony and basically made it to where it was okay for them to live in all that filth. And it's like, wow, you know, that's just ants, you know, but it's kind of like a metaphor for like life, you know. It's like, it's messy, it's dirty, it's like gross sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And we all find ways to survive as long as we have humanity. I mean, like we've been around for a while now,
and there's so
life
much
always
physical
finds a way.
contact. I think like I forgot recently someone shook my hand and I wasn't used to it, and I forgot that I wasn't used to it. And I was like, human contact is so powerful. Like just the human touch. Like it doesn't have I wasn't afraid. I wasn't like, oh my God, what are you doing? I'm just like, oh
yeah,
great. I can have a normal human contact with someone.
Yeah, you can do that, and you can also go wash your hands when you're done. I mean, just don't touch
Exactly.
your face.
Just like we always did. Like always, like regular common sense stuff. Like, okay, I've been sitting on the ground and I, you know, was touching my feet. I'm going to go wash my hands.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
have
and
to,
I like wash my feet when after I'm done walking outside because my feet
yeah.
are dirty. Like, but I walk around barefoot everywhere. My feet are almost always dirty, but I still wash them,
But I bet,
and I don't stick them in my mouth.
yeah, but I bet you have a strong immune system that's
I
probably
do.
partially created based on your touching of everything. A
Yeah.
little bit here, a little bit there, and
Well,
know,
that's just my nose, you know.
there you go. Yeah, you gotta like give it some fresh
Then I
stuff
go
to
wash
play
my
with.
hands.
But it's, I think there's like the people that are like our friends that, since everything's starting to calm down, like some of them are still terrified. I've known people, gosh, there
Well,
are people who like,
I still like the mask. I still like the mask thing because for one, I don't have to do like the bottom half of my makeup, like, and
yeah.
covers up my teeth, which are not beautiful, you know. So I get away with that. And I am an introvert, so it gives me like a little like security blanket over my face.
Yeah.
And
And I think people should do whatever they're comfortable with and what's right for them, as long as it doesn't make it wrong for everybody else. I think
yeah,
it's like, I can do the things that I feel like will work for me, but it'd be nice if everyone could just kind of
yeah. If everybody would tolerate what tolerates them.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's precisely it. Like, I think everyone should do what they need to do to feel good. I worry about, I mean, I don't actually worry that much about them because I'm just like, people have their own path. But there are people who like, they haven't left their place all year. Maybe, I think there were people left like just twice. That's it.
They will whenever they need to, if they're forced to, you know. I mean, like if it comes down to they need something and they can't have it brought to them at some point, then they will, you know, or they'll choose not to like continue. It's like that's choice too.
Yeah, I mean, but some of them like when they do, it's like the end of the world is happening, and it's like,
Yeah, well, of course, it's like the end of the world is happening because you haven't done it for so long. You're just not like used to it again. But it's just like anything else. You'll get used to it. Just got to do it.
yes, like it's like, I mean, that's like just like with kids. Like if something happens, usually you want to get them back to doing it as fast as possible, so they don't let it get stuck with them and become a block where they're like can't do.
Like I have been thrown off of a horse. Oh, I can't even imagine how many times. And I thought at the time that it was mean, but my dad always made me get right back on. And you know, even though like some of the times it was friggin' scary because like he didn't know what he was doing with the new cinch and it made a cinch sore, and so I was going to get thrown off again automatically. Like, but I got back on again and I got back on again and nothing got broken. And, you know, it was just like poor mule. It was actually a mule, not a horse, but
really, a mule was doing that. Wow.
Yeah. Mules are really smart.
Yeah, I just didn't expect them to be like all over the place. But I mean, obviously, you know him better.
Well, he wasn't all over the place. He just had a cinch sore, and so it was making him have pain. And so, because it's like that's the part that holds the saddle on, and it was a new one, and it was cinched up in the wrong spot, and it was giving him a blister basically under it.
Gosh.
And my dad just like was like, get back on there, you know. But that's how my whole life has been. It's just been like, there's always some factor that makes it worse for me. And I'm learning that it was all for a good reason because now I know how to deal with this shit.
Yeah, no, but it's true. Like you can overcome so much more when you've seen that you can overcome that. It's like if you could do that, you can do so many other things that like you've. Yeah.
It's like I feel lucky to have had a narcissistic parent. It's a weird thing to say, but but
it teaches you so much.
Yeah. Well, and I, at a young age, whenever I could learn it easier, you know, I mean, and it took a long time to process those emotions and get back to where I didn't have like flawed programming from it. Yeah. But yeah, it's like all it takes is introspection and nothing else really. I mean, you can just reflect and look at things like in your memory, which may not even be accurate. Like, I mean, I guess it does take a little bit of like maybe talking with my mom, and I learned like what made him that way, why he was that way, because of his relationship with his mother. And I could see the truth in, you know, the pain that caused that whenever he was a child. And that is like automatic forgiveness. It was like, I can't be mad at him for being who he is now, because it was traumatic. Grandma was a bitch. He was traumatized as a very small child.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel sad now that he has not overcome that and won't probably overcome that this lifetime. But there's nothing I could do about that.
No, there really isn't. And that's something I think that it helps to get to a point where while you're doing your own healing, you can become an observer or become okay with being an observer of everyone else's experience and not feel like you have to get immediately drawn into it, because you know what it feels like, and especially when it's family stuff, you know so closely, like the energies, you can feel exactly what's going on, and you're like, you don't want it for them, but at the same time, that's their choice. They made that choice, and there's only
and it's like, I didn't have a dad that loves me, but now I have, like, Scott's parents they love me so much. And it's like the universe gives you what you need, regardless of whether it was like your original father or whatever. It will give you what you need when you're ready to accept it.
And you've done so much work to get to a point of being able to see that. Like it didn't just
live
like
my life. If that's work, then yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, but it's true. But it depends on how you look at it. It's right. Perspective. It's always perspective. Mm-hmm. But like, there's a lot of people who don't go into the dark stuff, who don't want to do the uncomfortable things because they don't want to feel that. And the people who
they think it's more uncomfortable than it really is, and they're making it into something worse than it is.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Every time that I held something down, it just made it heavier and heavier. And maybe it was for a good reason, because like coming out of like letting that weight go of my father and having the conversation with him, letting that go made me like realize, wow, I'm friggin' so strong. And like I was so like high on it that I felt like literally like I was a kite on a string or a balloon on a string, just like, and I, had to work to keep myself grounded for a little while because I was like, it was gonna float away. But yeah. And then, you just reel it back in a little bit, pull the string back down and just get yourself to a nice zone, and it's like nice to be able to like have all this strength and just, I didn't even like go to the gym,
Yes. Absolutely.
Didn't have to pay for a membership.
Yes, it's.
I got a spaceship instead.
It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun that way, and it's a lot more energizing.
And some people like going to the gym, and that's cool. I mean, like, they're supporting a business or whatever, It's like a lot of people don't even go. They just like the idea of the gym.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
It's hilarious though. It's like, okay, that's cool.
That's been its own like pattern through time, but that's just held through like consistently. There's always the people who want to do it for all the right reasons, but don't actually want to do it. And you're right. It's cool. Yeah. It's fine. I'm like,
that's why every year my New Year's resolution is no New Year's resolutions, because I don't want to let myself down.
Well, and
I have my goals.
Why is it to say there's a certain resolution? I think like just being open to whatever the best experiences are.
Or why is there a certain day that I have to set these?
Yeah.
Because you tend to forget. If you have a tradition, you tend to forget what the tradition started for and what it's all about. And then like eventually somewhere down the line of your children, they will look back on it and go, this is stupid. And then they'll stop doing it.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah.
Like, you either got to share the story or you got to just let it be that that's your thing and only your thing. And that's okay too. Mm-hmm. Like either way, it's just an experience. It's not meant to be like clung to for forever.
Yeah. Everything is change. That's the only thing that's constant.
Oh my gosh, yes, that is extremely true. Anytime people get too like attached to something being a certain way, I'm just like, don't do it. I mean, you can, but
you're just asking for it. You're gonna hold on to it too tight, and then you're gonna just like be so disappointed. Mm-hmm. It's like you're setting yourself up. Expectations lead to disappointment. I don't have any expectations. I have standards, but that's different. It's like I'm in control of what that is, but expectations are on other people, and I'm not going to place any expectations on anyone that they didn't agree to. Mm-hmm. They didn't give out to me first.
And
then,
you are chasing your tail. It's like people are like, yeah, but when I was younger, everything was better and it was easier or whatever. I'm just like, was it?
oh, it's because your parents were taking care of you. Like, you can't have that anymore. That's a different reality.
Exactly. And I'm like, if you went back legitimately, I don't know that you would see it that way.
Yeah, you're totally projecting onto the past, like the nostalgia, and that's something
Yeah.
too that like I've that's been coming up is the nostalgia thing. It's like the nostalgia for the days of yore or whatever, and well, there's nothing new in the world, and you can have whatever world you want. So if that's the world that you want, you can build it. So do it.
Yeah, like do it now. Don't do it like don't go depressed into depression about like I mean, oh that I don't want to say it like that, but like don't like get
And don't be disappointed if it turns out better than you expected and is something totally different. Because it might be just better.
because you don't
I
know
like
all the rest of it yet. That's something. Yeah, you did that, but that was done now. That's old stuff. There's better things coming.
Yeah, well, and I do like remakes. I like remixes. I do like remixes, but yeah, only if they're good enough, different enough. You know, not like somebody like karaoke is where you go for like singing like the song. But like if you're gonna do a remix, you should change it a bit, like make it something that's more unique. And a lot of times those are even better. Like the Sound of Silence that Disturbed did is beautiful. It's like I think it's even better than the original. Like Easy Like Sunday Morning by Faith No More. That's like a remake, but it's really friggin' good.
And that's like what you're supposed to do when you do. It's like not do the same thing again. I mean, even the stuff you enjoyed, like put your own spin on it. Like have some fun with it. And like
yeah.
I think there's a level of healing you can do if you go back and then you can kind of like forgive something, let something go, accept something, maybe even talk to your younger self and kind of go like, hey, it sucks. Yeah, I know it really sucks what's going on right now, but it gets better. You know, this is just a small part of it. You can do like a little self-healing and that's totally fine. That's a very different energy than like reminiscing and going like, it's never going to be like that again. It's just like you get to you create worse things in front of you and you wonder why.
Yeah,
like,
unintentionally usually. Unintentionally usually.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not even realizing that's what's happening. You're just like, well, you just went from bad to worse. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah, if you stay on a certain pathway long enough, it will come back into itself and put you right back where you started.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably better just to like jump over and be on a different one and then just jump. You know?
Exactly. At the very least, be different. Feel different. It maybe not even relevant.
You are different already. And just be you.
Mm-hmm.
And you is not original. I mean, we're all made out of recycled materials.
Yeah. Yeah.
The stardust. We're not a star anymore, but we can be a star if we want to be at some point in the future. Because we already have it in us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it literally could create anything because you are everything.
Mm-hmm.
The timing.
Yeah, we'll be, like ashes to ashes, dust to dust. That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is it's like more deep metaphor than it's taken for, because it's like, yeah, we all started as stardust.
No, it's true, but I think it got a negative connotation, like to be this very like super sad, depressing thing. And it's like,
because it's attached to death, and death is seen as something negative, and death is just temporary. It's like, if we're lucky, we'll be able to have we'll be able to carry our memories forward to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
If we're lucky, we'll figure it out.
So.
That's what I'm going for. I think that we can do it. That's an achievable goal.
Yeah, I'm 50-50. I still haven't figured out really yet if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because there's the part of me that goes like, I can see a lot of good things.
Neutral. Just stay neutral until you figure it out.
Yeah. I figure eventually I'll settle on one, but I was just like, then there's a part of me that's like,
maybe it's both.
You end up with the memories in the past. You're going to be stuck with those babies for like.
Whenever you get to an understanding of time, you will realize it is both, and much more.
That's true. That's true. Well, this was
so which one are you?
Huh?
I said, but which consciousness are you going to be on?
Yeah, depends on.
That's the whole thing about navigating it, is you get to point your consciousness in the direction of being on the timeline that you want to be on. And that's really all there is to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And much more.
Yeah,
But it's just that.
and however much else is like totally beyond our ability to comprehend at this stage.
Well, it's just all folded up in that, and you can unfold it when you get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, eventually it's all gonna like suddenly just come back to, you know, everything, and it'll all come back, all of it, whatever all of it fully is.
It's coming back already. It's coming back like gradually through each consciousness. And so it's not going to be like a mass, like a big thing for everybody, because a lot of us are already at that point and some people are not there yet. And it's just going to be, it's gradual unfolding, and that's beautiful. It's like a flower blooming.
True. And we keep leaving stuff behind each time. It's like we leave books behind. We leave instructions. Like there are instructions here for us when we come back.
Yeah.
And we're starting to find them faster.
Yeah. The first star seeds were born like really long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
there's more of them in every generation.
And there's more and more content. Like if you look at the years progression of podcasts, you can see the awakening series of so many different people, and it's the same pattern. And you know, they have no idea that any of their experiences probably crossed over, but they felt called to share, just like us, whenever we feel called to share. And then they leave part of the trail behind, and then it becomes
even if there's like, I found one episode that had a very similar title to my new working title for my new podcast that's going to be coming up.
Oh, really?
And they did one episode, and it wasn't that good, but it was like they put that idea out there into the universe, and I picked it up and I'm recycling it because I'm going to turn it into something pretty.
No, and that's perfect. And like
either that or I'm not going to, and then somebody else will pick it up.
Exactly. So somewhere it'll come through. And that's what it's meant to be. It's not meant to be like a million copies of that one. And maybe it's like, it's going to take time for it to pick up and like build into it. And you're finally the one that's going to put it together. And it's just timing's right now.
Yeah. Well, it's weird, but because like I've been thinking thoughts that are like in this book, and somebody actually wrote it, you know? And it's like, I can't give myself credit for that, but I thought those thoughts.
Maybe you did,
and maybe I had something, but it's like, and I don't even care. It's like, it's amazing that the book exists, and I'm happy that it exists, and I don't have to write it because it's already written. So I'm going to make something different. That's why you got to check and make sure your ideas are original to you. You know, that's why I was searching to make sure that somebody didn't already have a podcast with that name. And they did, but they're not using it. So, and this was just like 3 months ago, but they're not making any more episodes.
Funny. That's really
funny. It's because it's a good idea. I picked it right back up. I saw it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. When we stop doing something, it doesn't mean it's like never going to exist again. It's just like somebody, or like if we don't take the like we're getting the guidance and we don't take it, it's okay. Somebody else will get given.
The universe keeps giving you opportunity after opportunity until you pick one up and run with it.
Yeah. You're just gonna keep going. You never lose.
And they're all the right choices, so just choose whichever one you want the most. Yeah, and it's like you can never make a wrong choice, really, because it's a perfect pattern of everything that ever could be.
And none of it has to connect directly. Like I used to get so hung up on like it has to, you know, I've done all of this, so it must be like, you know, a takeoff of that. And
it's like a bunch of failures that lead up to some success eventually. And that's it. Yeah. That's the only way they're connected through you. You are the connecting factor.
Yeah, exactly. And when you put your energy behind it, like legitimately, then it has a shot at taking off. But if you don't believe in it, then it's going to be a lot harder for it to work.
Yep. Cool. Well, that's a good stopping point.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
We've been talking a long time, huh?
I think so. Seems like no.
Yeah, me neither, but I imagine it's probably longer than what we guess.
Probably. I'm like, it'll be the perfect amount of time, though. This was really fun, though. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of stuff came out that people probably need to hear, and I think, and for us to hear too, just like to trigger different things to come up. And I don't mean trigger in a bad way, just like bring up bring up all the energies that need to come up.
Yep. Sometimes triggers are good,
Yeah,
but not all that.
Often can be when treated in that manner.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy we did this, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, you and Voxel.
Yeah, and if you, I know you're really good with hashtags and stuff. If you want to DM me hashtags to put on this, like,
Sure. I guess it's stuff, but I will send.
I know nothing about any of that, and I just usually go, "This is an interesting conversation," and drop it. But you're better at packaging, so I'll let you do that.
Sure. I'd be happy to. Do you want me to put it as a comment, or just send it to you and you add it to the information?
Send it to me, and I'll add it to the info. That'll be good.
I'll do that.
It was lovely. We'll have to do it again.
Definitely. Have a good night. Love you lots.
Love you, everybody that came, and sorry we didn't read your comments.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a bunch of them that we missed, but we were just like caught up in our conversation here, and we hope you enjoyed it. It was not personal, so don't take it personally.
Absolutely.
You can feel free to share with us, like, DM me.
Same.
Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.